Good morning, everybody. How you doing? Welcome to Deconstructing Christianity. I am your host, Coach Renz, and today on this glorious Tuesday, we are getting started with this week's lineup of lives. I will be live Monday and Tuesday Tuesday and Wednesday this week. I got a medical appointment on Thursday, so it'll be a later broadcast on Thursday, depending upon how the appointment goes. Well, no, it won't be a broadcast at all. I just thought about something. So yeah, it won't be one on Thursday as I have a doctor's appointment Thursday, and I'm quite sure I won't get back in enough time to do it. So I hope everybody had a great weekend. I was able to get everything done. Hopefully everybody have a little fun and get everything done over the weekend. So today's subject matter is going to be about God and Jesus are not special or good. The fact that there are many different versions of gods that exist out there, and the fact that the Bible God is just not a good God at all. It's not a good person, not even a good person. So it's definitely not a good God. But before we get started in that conversation, I want to remind everybody I posted the Eventbrite link on Facebook, as well as in the description of this video on YouTube. 9 businesses that you need to start in 2026. Nine. You don't have to start all 9 of them, but these are 9 of your best options for moving the financial needle for yourself in 2026. So that webinar is going to be on this upcoming Sunday. As a matter of fact, this upcoming Sunday on the 14th. So go to the Eventbrite link and join in the fun. I love business. Yes, if there's another subject that's I like more than talking about this, I like talking about business. Business is a strong 1B compared to this subject here. So it'll be this one. Actually, it's like a 1A, 1B, and 1C. So business and relationships are right hand in hand with this subject matter as far as things that I am most interested in. So we're having a business conversation here on 14th, on the webinar for Eventbrite. On Eventbrite. So click on the link in Facebook. You see it I posted it on Facebook today. Click on the link in the description of this video. And for shits and giggles, let me go ahead and post that link in the comments as well, because I know some people, they're not going to understand what descriptions are. That's all right, though. That's all right. So today's conversation, God and Jesus, they're not special and they're not good. You know, when you really step back and think about it, how many gods have man actually created throughout time? How many gods have actually existed? You know, it's a lot. There's a lot of gods out there. We could spend the next 30 minutes just sitting here listing every known god that has ever been created by man. Because let's face it, every god is created by man. So we can sit here for the next 30 minutes and list every god, right? You remember the Animaniacs little cartoon commercial, their little cartoon song where they go through every country? You know, I'm not gonna sing it, but they go through every if we went through every country and then went through the history of every country, we will find that there are so many gods. So many. And man has created every last one of them. So there is nothing actually special about the God of the Bible, right? I mean, what's so special about it? That a little Middle Eastern group who who separated from the Canaanites, who worship Yahweh and then merged Yahweh and El together, then got rid of his wife who used to be his mama, Asherah. And then later on, the Christians, then he became merged with El, and then he becomes more identifiable with the ideas of Zoroastrianism, with Ahura Mazda as a supreme deity of good, having a supreme enemy as in Agramenia, the devil. And then here comes this little movement that changes it over and says that, oh, but he had a son, which harkens back to the Greeks and the Romans and the Mesopotamians and the Egyptians and everybody else, but goes back to Zeus having a child with a mortal woman, and that child being Dionysus. The child is then killed and then is resurrected and reborn in Zeus's thigh. You know, there's just nothing special. I mean, there's so many gods, and that's just that's not even the tip of the iceberg. It's not even the tip. That's like the wind above the iceberg, right? That's just the wind above it. You know, I mean, we could talk about so many gods: Oshun, Olorun, Mamawata, Chichua. I mean, there's just so many. The sky people, Quetzalcoatl. There's too many gods that you can go back and talk about. And here's the thing. Ain't none of them really good. And I mean to say it that way. Ain't none of them really good. But of course, we're talking about the Bible, the Christian God Bible, the Bible God of the Christians. But they're not good. Every time somebody creates a God, that God is always temperamental. It always has an attitude. He always seems to act like humans. He's always a punk. Gets on my goddamn nerve. This is these guys are so not special. This is why other people walking around today claim that they God, that they're a God or they are God. Because you can. Because these guys have no power. They're weak. But they all have problems. They all are no better than the people who created them. Every God seems culturally bound by the people who created them. Exactly. What's that? Halima? They are all emotional. How can you have a God and he has the same emotional parameters that the people of the day who wrote about him has? That's one of the ways of being able to tell when somebody wrote about this God. If this God imbues the cultural references, the cultural ideas of a certain time frame of a people, that's when you know who wrote it. That's what if someone were to write and create a God today, and let's say you were an American, a woman, liberal, and yeah, just put those parameters on it. Oh, okay, I got it right. Thank you. That's exactly what kind of a God would that look like? That God would be okay with homosexuality. That God would be support women on an equal level as men. That God will not be of a patriarchy. That God would believe would have some levels of freedom of religions and freedom of thought and stuff like that. You know, whatever the culture is that creates this God is what this God is going to be. Let's see. Let's see if I have somebody want to talk. Adjacent.
Hey man.
Oh, Jason, how you doing? Are you good? Are you over 21?
Yeah, I'm 22.
All right. And are you a believer in the Bible?
Yes.
Okay. So what do you think about this God of Jesus? They're not good or special. What makes them special?
Because they're more powerful than other gods.
I didn't understand that you just said. What'd you say? Say it again.
Because they're more powerful.
And how would you be able to prove that?
Because he created this earth and the universe.
That's not proof. What proof is there that if Jesus got into a fight with I don't know, Congo that Jesus is gonna win?
He's more powerful than his creation. He created us, so he must be more powerful than us.
What is your proof that Jesus is the one who created us? I could believe that Quetzalcoatl created us.
Because there's only one possible explanation for the
Do
creation of the universe.
people? That's not true. But do people believe that? Do people believe in Quetzalcoatl? That he's the creator?
What is Quetzalcoatl?
It's the Aztec god. Are there people who believe that he created all things?
Yeah, God created all things.
Is there people who believe that Quetzalcoatl created all things?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, then. So your claim has no meaning. If other people can make the same claim, then your claim has no validation to it.
But the gods are false.
They will say that your God is false. That's just a matter of opinion. I'm not here to argue opinion. What proof do you have that your God is real?
Well, proof the fine-tuning of the universe.
The universe is not fine-tuned. Fine-tuned. Well, fine-tuned for what? For life?
What?
Are you saying it's fine-tuned for life?
Yeah.
Huh?
For life and many other things.
Well,
For life and the existence of other planets.
The majority of the universe is chaotic. It is not. It is unlivable. There is no life. So how is it fine-tuned?
An opinion. That's an opinion.
What?
I thought you said you don't debate opinions.
No, that's facts. The majority of the universe is devoid of life and chaotic. That is fact of observation. You can observe the universe and see that it is devoid of life. Are you telling me you cannot recognize that? Excuse me?
Sorry, you're lagging, man.
I can't understand you. What'd you say?
Hey, you're lagging, bro.
Your accent. I'm sorry.
Lagging.
I'm lagging.
Hello? You're lagging.
Okay, that's your phone or something, but
hello?
Dude, can you not hear me?
Your connection is bad.
Yeah, I see what you're doing. Are you crashing out? Are you crashing out because you know you cannot argue the point? This is your form of running from the argument? Are you serious?
No, absolutely not. I think your connection is.
No, so what you're because you know that you're reading from a script about fine tuning and you don't really know how to describe it or how to defend it. You're now claiming that my connection is lagging or falling apart when no one else on TikTok is making the same claim. Everyone else on TikTok is saying that there's no problem with it. So is this your way of crashing out?
Absolutely not, because that's.
Oh, now you can hear me clearly?
Because you're now back. No, now you're back, man. Come on.
Okay, so there is absolutely, just by simple observation of the universe, of our known universe, you can see that the overwhelming majority of our universe is devoid of life and chaotic. So therefore, where is the fine-tuning for life?
Are you saying just because other planets are incapable of having life, they're not fine-tuned, the universe is not fine-tuned?
I asked you, what is it fine-tuned for? You said life.
Life on this planet.
Okay, so
other planets.
So life is fine-tuned for life on this planet for who?
For us humans, for all microorganisms.
For us humans.
For all organisms, to be exact.
So humans aren't designed to live on this planet for the most part. In every aspect, in every place of this planet, there are more things designed to kill us than there are things to make us comfortable and live. Did you know that?
Give me an example.
An example is that if a human, every animal and plant is born, so to speak, in a situation where they can live exactly how they're born. No need for anything else but how they're born. Man is not born to exist first just for temperature for the majority of this planet. The majority of this planet, we won't survive without in the form that we are born. So most of this planet is not habitable for us. Then within the habitable zone of this planet for us, which would be the tropics and the equatorial area, there are more animals and plants that will kill us than there are the comforts of living in that place. Why would this guy create a tropical area that's filled with mosquitoes, with diseases that'll kill us, fleas with disease that'll kill us, with the lions, the tigers, we can't live in the water, the sharks and jellyfish and all these poisonous snakes. We're in an environment that's designed to kill us. So how's that fine-tuning?
Every single living being is important to the ecosystem. Even the food cycle, how do you call it? We have like preys and predators.
We got what?
Preys and predators.
Oh, prey and predator. So you saying that your God fine-tuned us to be prey?
That's not a flaw. Every animal needs to survive. Mosquitoes are equally beneficial to the ecosystem as humans.
Okay, so Earth was made for humans to, let's start small. Earth was made for humans to only live in equatorial areas. So God made a whole planet for man, but yet man can't live on the whole planet based on how we were naturally created.
Okay, so this is a straw man. In the beginning, I said for microorganisms and organisms and animals.
No, you said man first. Yes, you did.
That.
You said for man, and then you said for all the other microorganisms and so on and so forth. Initially, you said man. You did. You added man to that whole category, sir.
I thought I said microorganisms and organisms.
You said man first. You listed man as the first thing you listed. So are you saying that the Earth is not designed for man?
The Earth is designed for living things.
Is it designed for man? So we're not special. So humans aren't special.
Yeah.
So there was no special creation for us. We're not special then. We're just as we're as special as a virus, right? As a microorganism. There's no difference.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a difference. Yeah, there's no difference. I don't know.
There's no difference.
There's no difference. So
we're both living here.
So if we're no more valid than a microorganism, then what is the purpose of Jesus' death? But why would he die if we're not special? You see, did the microorganism sin? Did he die for the sin of the microorganisms? Did he die for the sin of the tiger? Like, why would Jesus come and die for our sins if we have no more value than the microorganism? Because essentially that's, excuse me?
For salvation.
Okay, but you said that we are no more special than a microorganism. So why would this God want us to, why would he do something special for us in your sense if we are not special?
Because he gave us free will.
Okay, I don't think you understand what I'm saying. I don't think you understand what I'm saying. There's a child in your back. Okay, he left. He ran. Okay, I don't think he understood what I was saying. And if you're still there, my guy, what I was saying is you got a child in your back in the background. Your child is special to you, more special than a microorganism. So I'm sure that you wouldn't treat your child. You wouldn't do something. If you do things for your child, it's because they are your child, because they are special. But you said that we are no more special than a microorganism. If that was God's thought process, then why would he go through the process of killing himself for himself, to himself? The I am on. Ooh, let me make sure I got this on. I didn't check. Yep, it's up. You got your mic? Unmute your mic.
Hey, what's going on, boss man?
How you doing, man?
Man, you showing up in trying to interrogate the Israelites, the Hebrews, the Christians, the Muslims. What's going on with you, man? Why you doing that, man? Because you used to be a Christian, man.
I'm not interrogating these people. And yes, I used to be a Christian. This is true. But that was then. This is now. I don't
Yeah,
interrogate them. If they come on this channel, that's on their own accord. I don't ask them to come on here. Mm-mm.
well, I mean, you still fundamentally a Christian, whether you know it or not.
And how would I be a Christian if I know it? How can I be a Christian if I don't believe in Jesus?
Because Jesus is just a modern day version of Heru, and you believe in the Egyptian myths and Egyptian gods.
What makes you think I believe in Egyptian myths and Egyptian gods? When have I ever stated that I believe in Egyptian myths and Egyptian gods?
Well, I heard you mention Kemet and Egypt and their gods and how they did things and stuff like that in the past, and you believe in that stuff, if I'm not mistaken.
You are very well mistaken. Because
Okay.
I know what people believe, and I know a lot of the stories. That doesn't, just because I repeat them or use them as countermeasurements towards Christianity, doesn't mean I believe in them.
Okay, got you. I got you. That's this. No worries. That's cool.
Heru. I don't believe that Heru ever existed. If Heru existed, he's a legendized character. But as far as it being a god, nah.
Okay. Okay. So then, what's your problem with the God of the Hebrews? Then I'm not talking about the New Testament. We know the New Testament is I don't want to say false, but it is false. It's more mythology. It's based on mythology and man's philosophy.
The Old Testament God is more mythological than the New Testament God.
Oh, no way, buddy. No way, my friend. No. You can't have a lie without the truth. I mean, you can't have the truth. You can't. The only reason the lie exists because the truth exists because man has sinned. So
you mean to tell me that the New Testament is more fantastical than a God being a pillar of fire at night, separating the Egyptians from the fleeing Hebrews, and then being a cloud by day, living inside of a tent, being a burning bush, creating a worldwide flood that there is no evidence of, an Exodus that there is no evidence of, killing people left and right.
Yeah, that's not mythical. None of that's mythical. All the miracles that happened in the Torah or the Tanakh or the Book of Remembrance, all that stuff is true.
Really, what is your evidence that the Exodus story ever happened outside of the Bible?
I don't think it's my responsibility to show.
If you make the claim, it is your responsibility. You see, if I make the claim that the Exodus story never happened, then it is up to me to prove the claim. I have to show evidence.
I got you. What I'm saying, I know what you're saying. I'm saying the proof is the writings. It says it happened. Either it did or it didn't. I don't think that it's my obligation to go around the world or to try to make people see that it's the truth. I think that you either going to accept it as the truth or you're not.
Why would you do that? When you went through school, did you accept whatever your teacher said, or do you accept whatever your parents say as truth?
Yeah, a lot of us actually do, and that's why a lot of us are confused and mixed up and messed up in the head right now.
Now, if you did that in school, then you would fail because you have to do the research. You have to study. You have to demonstrate it.
No, what I'm saying is you asked me a question. Did we believe what the teachers and parents told us? Yes, a lot of us did. No, that's why you was a Christian. Wait a minute. That's why you was a Christian at one time, remember? Because you believe what your parents and what the professors and what the pastors told you.
Christian, yes. But in school, no. Did you? I didn't. It what school? I don't. Maybe I didn't go to the same type school you went to, but in most school systems that I know of, you go through the process of verifying the information that the teacher is actually saying. That's
Actually, yeah, when you get in higher levels of learning, yeah, then you do that. But they don't really do that. You don't really go through that process. At least we didn't. Not when we was in like elementary and preschool and
yes,
middle
you
school.
did. Did the teacher
No, they didn't tell us to fact check what they said. They didn't teach us that.
No, they teach through demonstration. They teach through the way the teaching is done. They prove their teaching. So, like when you were in elementary school and the teacher said 2 + 2 = 4, you didn't just accept that. They would then get two items. I don't have 2 items up here right now.
No, like when it comes to mathematics,
it'll be like 1 + 1 = now I have 2. So
no, I got you. No. Okay, I thought you was talking about history. I didn't know you was gonna go to mathematics or geometry. Yeah, geometry and mathematics. That's pretty much solid. I think that's pretty solid. But when it comes to history, no, they did not tell us to fact check that stuff. They say, hey, the so-called white man discovered America. We believed it. They didn't tell us to fact check that stuff. They didn't teach us that. Hey, a lot of stuff that they taught us in history and social, I think it was sociology classes. They didn't tell us to fact check, and science classes. They didn't tell us to fact check that stuff.
All right. Maybe your school.
Not in high school and stuff, and lower levels. But when you get in college, yeah. When you get in the higher levels.
Okay, our teachers had to provide sources for what they taught. The textbooks provided the source. And then when you wrote papers, you had to go back and research. You had to go into the library and do your research. And I was 9 years old going to the library. So this was before high school. But okay. I mean, this is a different school system. So I don't know what school system you went through. But anyway, we get
okay. Just to say you correct, right? But they didn't want us challenging them like that. They didn't want us actually challenging them and proving them that they were wrong about what they was teaching us when we found out that Christopher Columbus did not discover America. They didn't want us challenging them like that. A lot of us would get put out of class like that doing that.
I mean, I don't know. I went to a different school because my teachers were the ones who said that how can anybody discover something when other people are already there? So they would explain that this was the first Europeans who came to the Caribbean. The first.
Okay, well, cool. No, you probably had a good teacher. You probably had a good history teacher. That's fine. A lot of us didn't, though, man. A lot of us was taught by Europeans, history classes.
These were Europeans who taught us, who said that. So, Mr. Ragsdale, of the most, was a white man.
Well, I know a lot of the European teachers, even some of the black teachers or Hebrew teachers, they didn't want you challenging them about what the curriculum was about.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is in all that the Old Testament, the so-called Old Testament, is what people call it, is really the covenant, the Most High's covenant. That is accurate.
All of that. Hold on. All that we just went through just brings back to the point of, if you're going to claim that the Exodus happened, you need to be able to prove that it happened. There should be some evidence that it happened.
The evidence would be the writings.
That is, so then the Homer, Iliad, and Odyssey, then that's true. There's cyclopses that are walking around. There's griffins. No.
Hold on. Like you just said in school, they taught you about what's fiction. When you order a Torah or a Tanakh, it's going to classify whether it's fiction or nonfiction, and it says nonfiction. When I order my Tanakh, right? When I order the Old Testament, right?
Bro,
it don't say that it's fictional. So the example you just gave.
Oh, it says that it's fictional.
Huh?
It says that it's fictional.
No, when I order the Tanakh, it classifies it as nonfiction. Nonfiction. It's not so that book is so when we read books, it's either categorized in certain areas. And the Old Testament is not categorized as a fictional book.
Okay, who cares what they categorize?
With you now, because I know you're smart. I know you do your research.
So exactly. So this line of thought that you're making right now makes no sense whatsoever, sir. Just because, and actually, if you go to any bookstore, the Tanakhs and the Bibles are in the fiction section.
No, they're not, sir. You're wrong. You're incorrect. Go to the library.
I just went to a bookstore. What was that, like Thursday or something like that, Friday? And when I walked in there, the Bibles, all the religious books were in the fiction section.
Okay, well, I don't know what library you went to, but I just ordered a Tanakh recently.
Okay, but that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter where people have categorized it, because I can open up a bookstore right now and put it in the sci-fi section if I wanted to, right? If I own the bookstore.
Yeah, but if you write a book, this is what I'm saying.
Let's not go into that, because that's wasteful, because it moves.
Okay. You're trying to waste time. What I'm saying is books.
No, it's a wasteful conversation, because it has
the author is going to categorize your. If you're an author of a book, you're going to say, okay, this is fictional. You're going to normally you're going to also categorize your own book that you write, right? So, like The Matrix, the lady, the sister, I think she's black or whatever. She wrote The Matrix. She wrote The Matrix, right? She's categorized that's fictional. We know that's fictional.
So if Euripides categorized the Bacchae as, if he gets categorized it as nonfiction, then that means that it's nonfiction, that is real, right?
Okay, which one did you just mention?
You know what? I use one that was probably less known to people today, which is Euripides' Bacchae. So Homer's Iliad and Odyssey, you've heard of that one, right?
Odyssey, I don't know about the other ones.
The Iliad and Odyssey. You know, the whole Trojan War, Achilles, Jason and the Argonauts.
But those guys are not. Those guys are. I think, if I'm not mistaken, those characters were real people, man. The Trojan Wars was real.
The Trojan War is real. Achilles might be a real person, but
yes.
was Achilles a demigod?
I mean, okay, hold on. What's a demigod before I say yes?
God, half human.
Half God, half human?
Yeah, Jesus. Half God, half human.
Okay, well, I think we all have God, half human, if you want to look at it from that perspective.
No. You're doing the thing. No. His daddy shot some sperm in his mama. Half God, half human.
Yes.
So you're saying that either your mama or your daddy, one is mortal and the other one is a god.
Oh, no. I'm saying that we're all gods.
No, you ain't no damn god. You can't make a planet.
Oh, I didn't say, hold on. I didn't say the creator of heaven and earth. I said a god. We're all a god.
No, you're not.
And let me give you a quick example.
When you read you're getting off subject. No, we not concluding a subject matter before we move on to something else, which is leaves emptiness. So
okay, but you and me can agree. I'm trying to agree with you. I'm trying to make sure we're on the same page. You said, is Achilles a demigod? I would have to say yes, just like you is a demigod.
Okay, so then you believe in the Greek gods, that the Greek gods exist. So to you, the Greek gods are real. Zeus, Apollo, Aphrodite, all those are real.
I believe they're real, but they're not the creator of heaven and earth, though. I don't believe that they're the Almighty God. Do you understand what I'm saying? But I do believe that they're demigods, yes.
I mean, they didn't create heaven and earth. That goes further back to their parents, Kronos and Hera and all. I mean, not Hera, but Kronos and Gaia and all of those. So the earth was created early by other beings that their parents. If I got the story correct. I believe
Kronos and them, all those are demigods too, though.
No, the Titans but they created Earth.
The Titans
they have their own creation story outside of the Bible creation story that differs from the Bible creation story. Both stories are not compatible to exist at the same time.
Okay. Well, if you look at it from that perspective, but I'm looking at it from the truth perspective. The Titans are just demigods. The Titans would be more like
How are
The
you gonna
Titans
claim?
will be.
How you gonna do that? How you gonna try to claim yours? I saw how you slipped that in, Thomas. I'm looking at it from the truth perspective. You can't. You got to validate something in order for it to be true. You can't just claim truth. It has to be validated and proven.
I got you. I'm with you. So because of the power of the covenant of the Most High, aka the Torah, the Tanakh, it gives me the truth. So when I see the lie and hear the lie, then I know what's the lie is. So the Titans would be more like a Nimrod, King Nimrod. Like he would be considered like a Titan. He's not the creator of heaven and earth, but he was given power on earth to develop cities and counties and countries and states, and nations. But he wasn't the creator of the lands and the earth, even though he was a powerful being. Nimrod was a black man, a so-called black man. of the Hamitic stock, excuse me.
Okay, I could care less about race, basically, when it comes to that part.
Ethnicity,
But,
whatever. You don't say race.
I could care less about ethnicity. That don't mean shit to me either. So,
Well, it's significant. I'm gonna tell you what.
According to the Greek story, there was the primordial chaos, and then from the primordial chaos, Gaia, which is Earth, emerged, and then Tartarus, the underworld, and then Eros, love, and then Gaia birthed out the sky, and so on and so forth. So, according to the Greek story, your God had nothing to do with creation. Their gods, their titans, created themselves out of the primordial chaos. Right? So that would mean you can't have it both ways. You can't demote them. You're only demoting them because you believe in the Tanakh, but you have yet to verify, and that's the whole thing that we started with. You have to verify. You have to verify it being truth beyond your belief. I don't care about belief.
I got you. No, but that go both ways. The Greeks will have to verify their belief or their system of thought too, as well. And the Greeks come after the Hebrews. Hebrews was. Hold on. Let me just say this. According to the Hebrew history, according to the Hebrew history, and even the Greeks will tell you that the Hebrews come before the Greeks. Even the Greeks even teach that.
What Greek school have you been to when they teach that they came after the Hebrews?
All the Greek schools teach that.
Bullshit. Have you even been to Greece?
You can even look at the Bible.
Hold on, I'm going to Greece.
No, I have not been to Greece personally, but look at the Bible. What did it say? Hebrew first, Old Testament, Greek second, New Testament. They're the ones putting the Bibles out.
Are you serious? Are you using the time frame of Greek conquest over the Israelites as far as when they came into being?
The Greeks conquered the Hebrews.
Right.
So that's proof that the Hebrews was here before the Greeks.
No, it's not. The Pythagoreans are older than the Hebrews. They came and learned in Kemet. They went and learned in Asia Minor.
Right. The Greeks did learn from the Egyptians. I would have to agree with that. But what I'm saying is the Greeks, when it comes to the Greeks being prominent in the earth, the Hebrews was already prominent in the earth before the Greeks. The Greeks did not come into power till after the Hebrews fell.
Are you
in power?
What
they book even show. What I'm trying to say, sir, is that their books.
No, and hell to the fuck no on the bullshit that you just said. You're saying that the only time the Greeks, so basically you're saying the only time the Greeks came into prominence is during the time frame when Alexander conquers and creates his empire, right? Which will put it around the 300s BCE. It's in the 300s BCE is when Alexander, his death was in so that's in the 300s. So you're eliminating all the other history of the Greeks when they were the Mycenaeans, when they were appearing as agricultural settlements all throughout the Greek islands and the Greek mainland, right? But their civilization truly began as far as emerging as a greater world power in around the 1600s BCE. There is no Hebrew civilization prior to the 1200 BCE. So they got at least a 400-year head start.
Okay, so you trying to tell me that the Old Testament, as y'all call it, is written in Hebrew. The New Testament, as y'all call it, is written in Greek. But yet you're saying the Greeks had preeminence and power over the Hebrews existed before?
No, I did not say they had preeminence and power over the Hebrews during that time frame. What I'm saying is that the Greek society existed before the Hebrew society. Now, it is not until the 300s or the 4th century BCE that they come and conquer the Israelites, and then they write the Septuagint, and then the New Testament is written in Koine Greek because the Romans are in charge. See, you even putting it wrong. The New Testament is written in Koine Greek, but it was the Romans who were in charge. The Greeks weren't even in charge at that time frame. They had been surpassed. I don't got
no problem with that. I'm saying that, but the Greeks even put their book after the Hebrew book. They're letting you know that, hey man, we came after these people.
That's not. What in the 3 levels of non-logic are you talking about, bro? That doesn't make any logical sense. You know what? You using that creative Hebrew Israelite logic that never makes sense, because you're saying that because the New Testament is written in Koine Greek, then that means they're putting themselves after the Hebrews, because the Old Testament was written in Proto-Hebrew and Aramaic.
They come after the Hebrews when it comes to world dominance. Yeah, they came after the Hebrews. Yes,
the Hebrews never had any world dominance. So what the hell are you talking about?
Well, not according to the book of remembrance. Not according to King David and them. That's not true.
When did they conquer Egypt? When did they conquer Persia? When did they conquer Turkey? When did they conquer Italy? When did they conquer Greece?
King David had all those nations up under his authority.
King David had. Look, man,
according to the book. According
to your book, but you cannot substantiate anything outside your book, because archaeology goes against everything you're saying. Okay, that was my point 30 minutes ago. Is that archaeology? You have no archaeological evidence to produce anything to support anything that you are saying. You have zero archaeology. You just have belief. You just have belief, and I'm not going to argue your belief. You can keep your belief.
I got you. So we don't have to do that. What I'm saying, but the archaeology actually is there. You will have to just type it. All you gotta do is
name it.
Hold on. All you got to do is type it into your AI, and it's going to tell you.
If you already let me tell you something that irritates me to no end. Is when people come on here or they're in the comments and they're like, well, all you got to do is look up this, all you got to do is look up that. You're making a claim. Don't make a claim if you don't already know the answer. Okay? Because when you do that, and this is for your own benefit when you're talking to people, when you do that, you actually look like you're just repeating some talking point that somebody else said, and you don't actually understand the information yourself.
But we are doing that though, boss man.
No, we don't. We don't.
You're doing the same thing.
And don't be lazy. No, bro, don't be lazy like that. Come on now. Because you know good damn well I quote shit and I say shit and I support it without telling you to have to go look it up. Like,
no, I'm not saying you don't do that. I know you do quote stuff. I'm saying that at the end of the day, you're quoting and reading stuff that somebody else wrote. So we all going on what other people.
Sir, my point is, of course, yes, we lean on other scientists and other people to discover and learn things, and then we read what they've learned, because nobody can verify everything. Of course not. But what I'm saying is that you can't even do that. You're not naming source. You're not saying that, oh, you can go, we have the Tel Dan Stele, and the Tel Dan Stele says the House of David on it.
You correct. I'm with you. You're right. I'm not doing that at this point, but I could, but I'm not, and I don't want to. But because my main source is the Torah, aka the Tanakh, the
No,
Old
but
Testament. So,
I said I'm not arguing your belief, and then you
Mhm.
said, but you do have
Well,
the
no, that's not
archaeology,
belief.
and you said you can go look it up in your AI. Tell you, no, if you have the archaeology, then state the archaeology.
I got you. No, you're correct. What I'm saying is this. You're right on that. I'm not doing that. I'm saying that, but if you go and read, if a person read this particular source, which is the so-called Old Testament, you will see that the Greeks was not running nothing during the time of King David. They weren't running nothing.
Doesn't matter if they weren't running things in the Middle East during the time frame of David, but during the time frame of David, they were in control of the Greek. The Mycenaeans were in control of the Greek islands and surrounding areas if David actually existed.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. Greeks had the Greeks, but they weren't called Greeks back then per se. They were might be like you say. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm with you. No, I'm in agreement with that. We're not. Yeah, they had their own. They had their own little empire or territory. But what I'm saying is, but King David brought even the Greeks under his authority.
Where's your evidence of that? What evidence do you have that David brought anybody under authority?
No. I'm saying according to the Old Testament, the Esau.
Your archaeological evidence, because
I'm not presenting that. I'm not presenting it. I'm not presenting that. I'm presenting the Old Testament as my archaeological evidence.
Cannot, because there isn't any. There's zero. There's zero archaeological evidence that shows that.
Okay, that's fine. But according to the Old Testament, that's not true. But according to the Old Testament, the so-called Old Testament, that's not true.
What?
I got you. I'm in agreement with you. I'm saying I'm not telling you the names and the sources. I'm giving you one source, and that's the so-called Old Testament.
But I don't care about that one. Because that's not history. That book has been proven to not be historically accurate. So I care less what it says as far as history is concerned.
Okay, so what's your name of your title? What's the name of your title, boss man?
What the title?
I know you're a boss. I know you're a boss. So I got to say, boss man. I know you're a boss. What's the name of your title, sir?
The title of who are you talking about? Me personally, or the name of the show?
The name of the show. The title of the show is what God and Jesus.
The title of the show?
Yeah.
Oh, that's simple. God and Jesus are not special or good.
Okay, that's why I tapped in. God is special.
Why the fuck you go through all this other bullshit? Go ahead.
I don't know. I guess because of what the other caller was talking about. But yeah, Jesus of Mary. Okay, there's two Jesuses, according to my understanding.
Wait a minute. Hold on, because I got to recognize.
At least two. At least two.
Hold on.
Okay.
Backstage. Backstabbing Pike. Thank you very much for the $5 donation to the channel. Christianity still enslaves the mind of those whose bodies it has long held bound. Hubert Harrison. It sure does. The mind is still truly enslaved. Thank you for the donation to the channel. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't recommend anybody to be a Christian or a follower of.
No, go into what you were saying. Don't.
Well, this is part of. Actually, that's a part of it.
Because you've not been on here past time. But go ahead.
Well, I'm special. That's why. That's one reason.
Okay, you're not special.
Of course I am, man.
You're special only to certain people. You're not special to the world. Nobody is special to the whole world.
Oh, okay, but I'm special to. Okay, I got you. But
I'm talking about God and Jesus. God and Jesus. God and Jesus are not special, and they're not good. You got something about that? You are they special? No. There's nothing special about this God. No more than any other God. Because all the gods are special to people whoever the people are that created that God, that's who that God is special to. But
okay, boss man. So I'm saying Jesus of Mary is not special, no. But the Jesus, aka the creator, that Jesus is special and good.
No, you're not. Prove
and
it.
I'm talking about the God.
What makes him special? Other than what makes him special? Because I can create a creator God right now if I wanted to. I can make up a whole story.
I got you, but I'm not creating up anything. I'm not creating anything. I'm dealing with what information has already been laid down by ancestors, particularly my ancestors. I'm not making up anything though. See, I'm saying I'm not making up something right now.
Well,
I'm
my
telling you.
ancestor said that Oshun and Olorun and everybody created the whole universe.
Who was your
Shango
ancestors, sir?
created the lightning.
Okay, who was your ancestors? Who you claiming to be your ancestors?
I don't. Oh, my ancestors are Yoruba.
Yoruba.
Yeah.
Okay, and so the Yorubians, what are they? Who was their god?
It's the practice of Ifa. It's known as Ifa today. So Oshun, Mamawata, Shango, Olorun, Odamare. Odamare created the entire universe.
Okay, but they're not on. Listen, I got you. Okay, no problem. I can't knock that because I don't know who your ancestors are. But where's their book? They don't even got a book.
Why do we need a book? We have handed down our stories for generations. Why do we need a book?
Okay, so you expect for me as a Hebrew to go look at your information? It's scattered all over the place. It's not compiled in one book like the Hebrews and the Greeks did theirs. I mean, come on, man. That's a lot of work.
Why do I need to see? Unlike, why do I need to prove anything to you? They're my ancestors. So if they're not your ancestors, then who gives a shit? I don't care.
I got you, but we talking about.
If you're talking about a book, then you should validate the Upanishads and the Vedics. I'm sure a Kush on here.
I know, but I'm saying, but what I'm saying is that.
Thank you for the donation again.
Yeah, we're gonna get you a lot of money.
White guys are not your guys, and Jesus, the Jesus you're talking about is the slave Bible. Please hang up and let the adults talk, because you're claiming what they're saying. You're claiming this Hebrew Israelite thing, right? Obviously, and you actually have no validation that you are Hebrew. Can you track your family history back to Hebrew? No, I'm talking about. Hold on. Let me be clear. You can look at your mom and you know who your mom and your daddy is, right?
Yep.
You know their grandparents, their parents.
Yep.
So you know each parent going back. That leads you back to Israel. You can name the people.
No, I can't. Well, yeah, I can name the people as far as the name, but not their first name. I can't name their first name. I can name the family name. I can't name the first name though.
Okay, so what do you mean?
I don't know all the first names like David, like King David, even though he was Israel.
What I'm saying is that I know that Jack Reed, who was a white Scottish man, bought a slave from a boat that came from the west coast of Africa, from what is modern day Nigeria. Bought a slave who came off of a boat from there and produced a child with that slave. Named that slave John.
Mm-hmm.
And then that slave John had another child named Harry. And then from Harry had a son named Jack. And Jack had another son named John, who then, for some strange fucking reason, another son named Harry. And then that Harry had a son named Harold. And then from Harold came me.
Okay, so I mean, I'm not questioning your genealogy. I'm saying that the God of Israel
demonstrate that in your genealogy.
Of course. But what I'm saying is the God of Israel.
No, you said of course. What's the line that goes back to Israel?
My family, from the male side of the family, the male sperm, the seed that goes back to Israel, aka Jacob. Yes, it does.
What was your dad's name? What's your dad's name? that first name?
What's my daddy's first name or last name?
First name.
Israel.
What's his daddy's first name?
Israel. They named him Israel.
And the daddy before that?
His name was Jacob.
And the daddy before that?
I don't know all the first names. Remember, I told you that I don't know all the first names.
So how can you identify who the person is if you don't know their first and last name? You have to know
I
their
know
first and
that.
last name.
No, I know. I know the family name. The family name. I know the family name of our people.
Okay, I don't think you understand. What country you live in?
Man, I live in America, man.
And what country has most of your more recent ancestors have lived in what country? America, right?
Yes, sir.
If your country family has lived in America, as long as they've been in America, they have had first and last names.
Yes.
If you
Well,
generalize
not
just the
necessarily.
last name, that means that your genealogy can go 11 different directions and actually have nothing to do with you. So you have to know the first and last name in order to identify who your family members are, right?
Well, what I'm saying is the family.
Like that slave woman who was brought off the slip, they named her Mary. Okay, so which is
Yeah,
so
but we
weird.
don't trace our ancestors. We don't trace our ancestry or nationality or race through our mother. We do it through the
Okay, that ain't
father.
got nothing to do with what I'm saying. That ain't got nothing to do with what I'm saying. What I'm saying is they all got names. If you don't know the name, then you don't know what family you're tracking, is what I'm getting to.
I do know the name. I'm tracking the father's last name, his family name.
If I track the last name Reed, then I'm going to, there's a bunch of people whose last name is Reed that it has nothing to do with my genealogy. You see what I'm saying? There's a bunch of Reed.
Okay, so you can just check the correct Reed family line then. I got you.
What I did, but you got to know the first name to do that. You see my point? You have to know the first name.
I got my father. He has a father. He has a father, right?
Yeah, and you said but after a couple of generations, you don't know the first names no more.
I don't know him. I don't remember him like that. I know you might know yours. I don't know. I ain't gonna lie and say I know mine. I don't know mine like that. But that don't mean I don't know. That don't mean I don't know my family.
Do you have proof of that? And earlier you said you don't have proof of that because you don't know the first name.
I got proof of my family name. I don't have proof of the first names of all my family. No, I do not.
If I claim proof of just family name, then I can claim the most prominent Reeds. I can claim either the Irish Reeds, the Scottish Reeds, or I can claim the British, the Anglican Reeds. I can claim any one of them. And guess what? The Irish and the British ain't got shit to do. Irish and the Anglicans ain't got shit to do with my family.
So then that means you wouldn't claim that particular Reed. You would claim that the Reed that's got something to do with your families.
But how would I know unless I know the first name in order to
first of all, first of all, you'll know by your mother and father and what they tell you. That's one orally. You'll know orally, and or you can know through paperwork.
Yeah,
you got three options. You got three options. You can know through orally, you can know through paperwork, and you can know through divine revelation.
That's bullshit. You just went to the bullshit meter. The bullshit meter just went ding, 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 ding. Divine revelation, my ass. This is why people be running around and everybody talking about I'm from a king, and I'm from a queen, and I'm from this chief and that chief. That's the made up feel good bullshit. My family ain't never been no fucking kings or queens. They ain't never been no chiefs and princesses and all that kind of stuff. People be making shit up to make themselves feel special.
Some of them do that, but not everybody.
No, 99% of them motherfuckers be saying it to make themselves feel special.
You might be correct. I don't know, but I can't say everybody's like
that. You are making your shit up to make yourself feel special. So you want to
I'm not making myself feel special. I feel special because the creator that's in me already, the power that's in me tells me I'm special. I don't have to make myself feel special. He tells me I'm special.
Yeah, if you need somebody else to tell you that you're special, you are
the creator. Hold on. I didn't say I need some. I said the creator of heaven and earth. He tells me I'm special, sir. It's a difference. I'm not dependent upon my mama to tell me I'm special because she might not think I'm special.
Okay, that's your belief. You can believe that
No,
you're
I'm not
special.
going to believe you. I said the creator tells me I'm
The
special
creator-
every day.
Do you have a recording of it? Hold on.
Yeah, I do have a recording of it in my head.
Nah, that's not a
Not
recording.
on videotape, though. No,
That's not reliable. You can't. I need something you can prove, man. Come on with that bullshit.
Okay, so you want me to record what God tell me?
Yeah,
I
if you
just
want to.
did.
Yeah, if you want me to believe it, yeah, because I'm
I
not
just
gonna believe
did.
it because you said it.
Well, okay, that's fine. You don't have to, but you asked me to record what tell you what God told me. God tells me every day I'm special. I don't see, I ain't talking about through his verbal voice. I'm saying he tells me that in my head, in my mind.
Okay, I tell
Yeah.
myself in my head every day that I'm the fucking man. I even played a damn song by Aloe Black. I'm the man every day. It's my theme song. I can do that every day, especially.
Okay, I didn't say I'm not knocking nothing that you do per se at this point. I'm saying that you asking me, so I'm saying the creator tells
That's
me
not
I'm special.
special. That's not special. That's just special to you. And you
I
feel
know, but you just same thing with you though. That goes with
But you know what? Look, I have given you way more time, and there's people who've been sitting up here waiting. So we just gonna conclude this conversation because you haven't demonstrated anything. So it's how you believe, it's how you feel, and that's fine. Believe what you want to believe.
but we all like that though.
No, stop generalizing people because we are not all like that. Hence why I am not like that.
You do believe, don't you believe stuff?
No.
You believe that you come from the Yoruba.
I don't believe it. I did the research.
Okay, but I don't believe what I'm saying. I know it.
Oh,
I just don't believe it. I know I come from the line of line of Israel.
No,
See what I'm saying? But
you
you always want to say
you cannot prove it.
I can prove it. I can prove it, but you're gonna tell me I'm believing again.
You are because you're gonna use it. If you're using divine discernment, then yeah, that's just fucking belief. But unless you have some type of documentation that, and you said that you've already admitted that you
Don't
do
necessarily
not know
exist.
the first names of your ancestors after you go about the fourth generation. So
I don't have to know the names of I don't have to know the first names of my ancestors to know that I come from my ancestors, sir.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
No, you do not.
Otherwise, you're throwing shit up against the wall. You're claiming you
Names
can claim
of your
a family line that doesn't even connect with you. If I go deep enough into my family, I can. Tim Reed, who's an actor in the 70s. If I went deep enough in my family lines, I could create. I would never find a connection between he and I. But I can sit up here and claim that he's my distant relative because we got the same last name, and that's all you're doing. When you disregard first names and say I know the family name, I could claim that Tim Reed from WKRP in Cincinnati to show how old I am.
Come on, man! Don't act like you know the first names of all your ancestors. Just trace back 6,000 years. Don't do that, sir. Please don't do that.
I know the first name. I never claimed 6,000 years, but I know the names that gets me to Scotland, and I know the names that get me to Yoruba. Yoruba. Hold on, I am not done. I know the names that get me to the Creek Indians, and I know the names that get me to the Mali. And I know the names that get me to the Ivory Coast.
Okay, so, whose records are you looking at? Okay, so whose records are you looking at?
Combinations of records.
Right, they're not per se owned by those records are not owned by you. So how do you know those records are accurate? You don't know. You believing, sir.
No, I am not believing because most of the records that are utilized are purchase records and cargo records. These are records that people had to pay taxes for.
I know.
If you're dumb, and I'm gonna say it the way I want to say it. If you're dumb enough to think that a big conspiracy was done and all these business owners paid all this fucking taxes on property so that they can trick the black man, then you are a fucking conspiracy theorist to the highest level of stupidity. If that's what you actually think. I'm not saying that's what you think, so I'm not putting that moniker on you. But if you do think that, that's the level that you're reaching. because then you are insinuating that what would equate to trillions of dollars in taxation today was paid by these people just to keep the black man from knowing he's an Israelite.
Again, if anybody believe everything that the so-called white man say, they're actually very ignorant.
You're believing the white man.
No, I'm saying anybody.
You're
If you
believing the
believe,
white man. You are
Hold on.
believing. You believe in the
Watch
white
this.
man yourself. You are reading a
Anybody-
book that is based on white people putting it out.
no, I'm about to say this. Anybody that's trusted in a human being, period, whether it be black, white, yellow, green, if you put your total trust in humans, then that's a foolish person, actually, an ignorant person. So I'm
I
not
know.
putting. So what I'm saying is, I hear what you're saying, but still, that's based on a lot of what you're saying is your history is based on still a belief of yours. You believing everything that you're reading.
No, because I can check it.
No, for sure, you wasn't there, sir.
I can check it.
I know
That's
you can
what,
check
that's
it.
what records do. That's what records do. They check you. You know what? I appreciate you, man, but I gotta get you.
Yes, sir. Next time, boss man.
Have a good one.
All right.
All right. Shit, I can barely read that. When people do a super chat, I gotta read it real quick. So that has nothing to do. In reality, you're just making up your history for a bogus argument. Go read the Ethiopian Bible and get back to us. Exactly, just making up a history. That is all the Hebrew Israelites do, is make up a fucking history to soothe these black people who feel disenfranchised. The Bible they use is manufactured by the Gutenberg printing press. That's man isn't a Hebrew Israelite. Thank you for the super chat, Cheryl. Absolutely. You're using something that was created by the very persons of color that you're saying did that you shouldn't trust. Thank you for being patient, Bishop Nubs. And I know I got a lot of people on waiting, and I'm so sorry that it's taking me so long. So
that is all I can express towards these people. And I say these people as in the religious people. Doesn't matter race, creed, color, fuck, I don't care what that shit is. So as far as family lineage, there are, last time I physically saw it, there was 2.5 filing cabinets of documentation tracing my family lineage back to the 15th century. And a simple Google search of my last name will show you where that specific point is in history. Now, obviously, I'm not going to reveal my last name. I'm sure it'll come out sometime because I am starting my own shit on TikTok.
Good. People here have been wondering if you're going to do your own podcast.
I appreciate that. I would definitely, if you would be interested, I would love to co-host with you. We would definitely have some parameters like, I can't just go off on calling somebody mentally handicapped, because that's not good for your show. If I want to do that, I would reflect that on my show. Not necessarily. What's that?
We'll talk about it.
Fair enough.
What you're looking for, what you're trying to do, we have to have the whole discussion.
Right. There's a lot of unknown with that question. I'll put my email down in the actually, I'll just put my phone number. You can text me.
No, don't put your phone number out here because then everybody can call you and all that kind of shit.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that you have other people than just me.
Yeah,
silly me. I'll find your email on your stuff and I'll email you. But at any rate, my family does go back to for sure. What's that?
I just put it in the comments. My email.
Okay, perfect. I'll catch it in the replay.
Okay.
Or in the private comments.
But anyway, you were saying?
Anyways, yeah. So I can trace my family. Maybe it's my so-called, Esau heritage. But as far as I remember the story of Esau and Jacob, Jacob was a fucking dirty ass thief that lied to his father, which is a dishonorable action according to your God. So you can fuck off with that shit too, because that's
Esau is the one
dishonor.
who stayed home. He stayed home and took care of his
Right.
parents in their old age, while Jacob, little lying fucker, ran off.
Right. Ran off and then got blessed by a god. So in order to thrive, and that's questionable because of this little thing called archaeology. So I just don't see how any of that is A, plausible, or B, possible.
Yeah,
And it's part. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You were talking.
These individuals that come up on these religious platforms, they don't seem to understand that their belief is not actual proof. And by them coming up and claiming a belief without actual proof, at least for the ones that believe in the Bible, well, I would say that is a direct defiance of both the Old Testament, where in Deuteronomy 19 and 15, and also a bad mark on 2 Corinthians 13 and 1, where it says you need 2 or 3 witnesses to prove a thing. And if you can't come up with a first name and a last name, you don't have a witness according to your own book. Get out of here with that bullshit. You fucking hypocrite, you worker of iniquity.
And it's all a bunch of bullshit. And I like the idea that you brought up Esau and Jacob, because it demonstrates that this God is not good. Because the one who actually, the only thing that Esau did that this God seems to have a big problem with, the real issue, is that he went and married a Hittite and a Canaanite woman, instead of going and doing some cousin fucking and marrying his first cousins. And even though he took care of his family, even though he didn't have a birthright and he didn't get a blessing, he still built the wealth of the family to take care of the family. But then this God says in the New Testament that he hated Esau. And for what reason? That Esau...
If I may on that one, it brings back to the point that this God is a sinner by his own standard, because hate in your heart is unforgiveness. Unforgiveness is, in fact, a sin according to your Bible. Now, we can reiterate this with another premise, giving us 2 premises as witnesses, because you will know them by their fruit. So now we go to the New Testament, where this God comes to himself to beg for the forgiveness of his chosen people, and everybody that does not believe goes to hell. Do not pass go. Do not collect 200. In turn, hell is proof of unforgiveness, making your God a double down sinner.
You know what? I like that. I might steal that and make a video about that later on today.
Hey, as long as you give credit where credit's due and we get my channel going, I'm good with that. I'll collab with you any fucking day.
All right. Yeah, I got it. You know what? Yes, I like that. Matter of fact,
hell, I'll come down to Texas and build you a nice greenhouse so you can just do the right thing and give all the fruit away, like the good atheist does and the Christian church does not.
True that.
Community is important because community builds intelligence. Intelligence breeds integrity most of the time. And I'm talking about internal fortitude intelligence, not the I get smarter and now robots are doing my fucking job, because that's questionable if that's intelligence or just being extremely lazy and being smart to be lazy. Anyways, so at any point in time, I think that what I am going to do, we'll bounce it off. I definitely want to have a conversation with you in private. But I think what I'm going to do is a bullshit counter, as in unproven claims, and then also a dodge counter. Because you will know them by their fruits. And
Right.
I'm going to, I think I'm going to have as many perspectives as come up.
Mhm.
You get what I'm saying? So if there's a Muslim and a Buddhist and a Christian, because we should all be able to prove our gods. And if they're fighting about which God is correct, they're not really doing anything. And that bullshit counter is going to fucking go like the national deficit.
Email me. In your email, send me your number. I'll give you my number. If you abuse my number, I will come to
Oh, hell
Minnesota.
no. Hell no.
Kill you.
Nope.
No,
You
I
ain't got to make no promises, because I understand what men do.
You ain't got to worry about me coming to Minnesota because it's too damn cold. So
No, you come on up. I'll make sure you're nice and warm. We got a place for you.
I have to go outside. Nope.
Well, Odin might get you then. But anyways, much love. As far as the religious type, your belief is not proof. And the fact that you think it is shows that you know nothing about what you claim to know all.
Exactly.
Much love. Have a great day.
You too. Got to have our Bishop Nug moment. Billy. Billy, you are alive. Hello, Billy. Billy.
Hello.
There you go.
Hello.
Can you hear
Can
me?
you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hello.
Billy.
Hey, Coach Rance.
Hey. Can you hear me, Billy?
Hey, Coach Rance.
Billy, can you hear
Can
me?
you hear me?
Yes.
All right. I cannot hear you. I don't know why. I cannot hear what you.
I don't know. I mean, I got everything. My microphone is on. Can everybody else hear me?
I don't know why I can't hear you. Huh.
I know
Can
there's
you
like
hear
a
me now?
30-second delay. So yeah, I can hear you. I need everybody else to let me know if they can hear.
I don't know what's the problem. What's happening? Um,
Everybody else can hear me. You seem not to be able to.
what's happening? I can't hear you. Papa Lengwani Hundi.
I can, yeah. I don't know what's going on with Billy's thing. Everybody can hear me, Billy, except you can't hear me. Ooh.
Hello, Coach Rance.
Can you hear me
I don't
now?
know why I can't hear you. I'm kind of confused.
Can you hear me now?
Um.
Can you hear me?
Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can come back. Let me see if I can.
Yeah. Come back. Yeah. Say his volume is on mute. That could be. I could ask him that when he comes back. I'm gonna give him a second to see if he comes back real quick before I see if I know some TikTokers have I don't know if they're still waiting, but I want to give him a minute. See if he comes back. Thank you for the super chats that you guys are giving today. I really greatly appreciate that. Okay, we got Manuel. He's just talking some nonsense. All right, he's taking too long. Let me see if Bobby, I don't know what order the TikTok people were on in. How you doing, Bobby?
I don't know whether to call you big bro or little bro because we both probably about the same age. Shit. Yeah. But you know, I wonder, could you answer a question that's a little bit off your topic? Because like a lot of us is so through with that Bible,
Mhm.
you know, especially the Job story. Damn, I was with the woman I wanted to spend my life with, and you come and take her and make the devil do all this to me, even though you say you replaced it. I wanted the woman I originally had. Shoot, that's that Job story. And then the Bible says don't commit adultery, but God gonna mess with somebody else's woman. And after he messed with somebody else's woman without consent, that's rape. I mean, grape. That's grape. She didn't know you was finna come put a baby in hers. That's, you know. But anyway, I had another question for you because I respect your how far you research and everything, and I know you research and study things more than me. It's just that even I am going through a little bit identity crisis, and I'll be watching a lot of platforms, and I kind of agree with melanated people were on every inch of this planet. Everything that came out the water, we was there. I kind of agree with that, but a lot of people don't want to accept that, and they still want to incorporate we African to every melanated person in the United States.
Right. So what's the question? Are we
Aboriginal or African descent?
Hell yes. Yes, we are. Every person on the planet, as far as archaeology knows right now, because archaeology can discover some stuff later on, but every person on the planet, based on archaeology, has African descent within them. Now, there are some people who have a little bit of a mixture and from a divergent group. So, for instance, like Neanderthal. Neanderthal is not from Homo sapiens, but then Homo sapiens and Neanderthal bred with one another. This is why you see some Asian people and the overwhelming majority of Caucasians with Neanderthal genes in them, but they still have the Homo sapien, which came out of Africa. And there's Chinese biologists demonstrated that Chinese people derived from a migration of about 125,000 years ago of people out of Africa. And we know that those people then migrated into the Americas. We know that we migrated into India and then into the South, into the Pacific area and into Australia and then across. And there are other subspecies from the hominid branch of Homo sapien that Homo sapiens come from, that we did breed in with them and breed them out. But
yes,
at the end of the day, everyone who is Homo sapien they are originating out of Africa.
And because when you go study the Aboriginal Australians, you see that they left Africa 60, 70, 80,000 years ago.
Right.
Could that be us too in North and South America?
Yeah.
Left Africa 67.
All of them. Actually, the incursion into North and South America primarily comes from 125,000 years ago, and then another incursion about 25,000 years ago. And then you had a smattering of Pacific Islanders who also came into the Americas. So from that original 125,000 years ago of migrating to the Americas, you then have smatterings of other mixtures and other migrations that have came in. But all of them originating out of Africa. Yeah.
So the people that call themselves native, you know, the brown skin, everybody calling Siberian, were they here before us?
Yeah, they were. Well, you mean like before the transatlantic slave trade?
Yes. Yeah, I believe they were here, but
yeah, there was some brown people who was here. But you would have had, but they were different. Like, so the more northern, Inuit, Eskimo type people, they were of lighter skin. And that's just genetics of adaptation over time, right? The further south you get, the more equatorial you are, the darker the skin.
Right. So I see a lot of fighting on Facebook, on TikTok about the Native America and the indigenous Americans and a lot of, and I'd be like, dang, we both got the same problems and we fighting each other now.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. But we
Right.
all, yeah, I mean, people like to pick a certain time frame that they want to start their history. But the further and further you go back, there's no evidence of any humans or humanoids on this side of the planet prior to about 125,000 years ago. There's zero
Right.
evidence. So, but we do see evidence of migrations.
Yes.
Yeah. So we all started. Everybody started in Africa. Every Homo sapien started in Africa, and everybody who's on the planet now is Homo sapien, primarily Homo sapien. So everybody out of Africa.
And you know, I always wish you the best of luck in trying to get through to these Christians, and they act like, you know, they don't want to go no further than Abraham. You know, they don't want to go no further than Abraham.
Yeah, they can't. They can't go further than their book, and so that's where they get stuck because their book is not history.
Where did Solomon get his 700 wives from? You know, I mean, the Bible got some good stories. You gotta admit it. These some good stories.
He had 300 wives, and then he had it's 300 wives and then 400 concubines or something like that.
Right.
So because concubines are a little bit different than wives. Concubines are more like slave wives.
Yeah, instant gratification women. No, and let me go get this off right quick. Let me go.
Right.
Baby, I'll be right back. I'm going into the bar. I'm going down the street. I'll be right back. Mm-hmm.
And people have to understand a lot of that is politically driven, where he's going to take on the wife of another kingdom, like from a daughter or a cousin to the royalty of another kingdom, and make that woman one of his wives in order to have a peace treaty with these people. Like that's the whole story of Esther. Xerxes is taking on all these additional wives as a way to have peace within the Persian Empire. So since they conquered the Israelites, then he takes on an Israelite wife to solidify the connection of their dominance over them.
And then you ever heard of the one with Queen Michaela, or the Queen of Sheba, when Solomon went over there? And I guess I'll call it, she was sex whooped because she changed the whole village into like a Hebrew custom. But it wasn't Hebrew at once until Solomon went over there and took her as a wife.
Yeah,
and then she converted all her people to that. This just showed that the Abrahamic religion was not always there. Just like when you go to
that's just fan
Ethiopia.
Fiction, but that's just fan fiction.
Yeah, even when you go to Ethiopia, Christianity has a birth date that went over there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a date that went over there. It wasn't always there.
No, it wasn't. And it's just, and the Solomon and Sheba stuff is just fan fiction. There's zero proof of any female queen from anywhere in the Ethiopia or southern the Arabian Peninsula or Kush that went to Solomon, had this sex affair, and came back. There's zero, and because there's no Judaism in none of those places until much, much later.
Right.
So it's all just fan fiction.
Yeah, that's why I'd be like, good luck, bro. Yeah. Good luck with that. You can't get a person to see past nothing.
Mm-mm.
You know, and I listen to people like you because I don't want to study, so I trust your studying. Let me go ask you.
You gotta validate some of it though. You gotta go check some of it just to make to keep me honest. Keep me honest.
Yeah. Thank you.
No problem. I appreciate you, Brandon. Bobby. Sorry.
You too.
All right, Billy. We're gonna try it again, Billy.
Sir.
All right, Billy.
Yes, sir. Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, cool, great.
Can you hear me?
Yep, can hear you playing loud and clear.
Yes, sir. First of all, I wanna say thank you for letting me in, and but more over that, I wanna thank you for the work that you do. This year I started deconstructing, and you've been so helpful, so helpful. I don't know what to say. This year on your YouTube, it was your second channel that I view the most. I've watched 90% of your videos, and I try to go back and watch what I missed before I start to follow you.
Oh, okay. Appreciate
All I
that.
wanna say is you've really helped me with other channels like the construction zone and stuff.
Mhm.
It's not easy, but sometimes, especially um as a human who's black, sometimes I feel like it's so hard to do it when you don't see other people like you doing it. So when you see other people deconstructing that the same, I don't know if it's something that is in our evolution. When we see people that look like us do something, we feel like we have support. And I was so you've been really helping me for a long time, and first of all I want to appreciate you and to thank you.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I'm glad to be of
Yes.
service.
Yeah, the second thing, there's something that I wanted to talk about this subject about Jesus or God is not special. And there's something that many people have not yet realized. I've been reading the Bible. I've been reading the Bible. I'm from Africa, but I've been in the United States for 6 years now. And I grew up reading the Bible in different languages, but now I'm able to read it in English. And you see some of the translation that we have in Africa. There's a lot of things that are missing. The translate maybe it was badly translated,
Mhm.
but now that I'm reading it, especially like the even though it's not Hebrew, but at least he tried to be a little bit accurate, like the NRSV. A lot of
Yeah.
scholars claim, say this is the most accurate, at least we have. And I've
Mhm.
been reading the whole Bible all over again. So today I just got into Luke, and you've been talking the same subject that you talk about. It comes in this Luke book. So in Luke 2, when Jesus, people always claim that Jesus is God. I always say, how is he God? In Luke 2:21, first of all, he's circumcised, like he's following the tradition of the Hebrew that was given in Old Testament. He's being circumcised. In Luke 2:22, he's being presented in the temple to the Lord, like how it was written in back in Exodus. So how can Jesus be presented to God and then claim that he's God? So that means he's presenting himself to himself. Second thing, if Mary gave birth to the most divine human ever, to the most maybe to if Mary gave birth to a God, how can she offer the can she be offering for sin? Because you have to offer after giving birth, after 30 days, you have to offer something because you are impure. How can you be impure if you give birth to God? This
Right.
just shows that Jesus was not special. He was just like other people. This is the same thing every other Israelite did whenever they gave birth. This is what they did. So even Jesus, the same thing still applies to him. So that shows he's not special, because these sacrifices that they gave in the temple in Luke 22, this was for impurity. How can you be impure if you gave birth to God?
That is incredibly valid statement, because as you said, she had to give the 2 pigeons or 2 turtle doves because she was considered unclean. And Jesus
Definitely.
himself is considered unclean for the 8 days until he can be named and circumcised.
Mm-hmm.
And even the blood of the circumcision would make Jesus unclean for, during that the blood of birth makes him unclean for 7 days, and then he gets
Mm-hmm.
circumcised and named. So how can he be God if he's unclean?
Definitely.
Right. And of course,
Yes.
they'll say that, well, he had to live as a man in order to be sacrificed as a man in order to be a sacrifice to God. But he
Mm-hmm.
was still God in the whole time, and he took on the sins of man. And I can imagine a Christian would say, well, that just demonstrates Jesus taking on the first sins of man, which is being born.
Yes.
That would be the
Yeah.
bullshit sin that I can hear a Christian saying, that they
Mm-hmm.
probably have never thought about.
Definitely.
Right? Until I just said it. Like, for the Christians who are on here, they probably never thought about that until I just said that.
Now they're gonna run with it.
They're gonna run with it and say, "Oh, see, Jesus took on the sins of man from birth because he suffered through the blood of Mary's Yeah, but Mary is
Definitely.
supposed to be an immaculate conception herself. Actually, the
Mm-hmm.
immaculate conception is Mary. Mary's birth.
Yes. Yeah. That's for Mary. It's not for Jesus. Yeah.
It's
That's for
not even
Mary.
for exactly. That's
Yes.
not even for Jesus.
Yes.
And then, how can he be the Messiah when he didn't fulfill not one
Any
thing,
single messianic prophecy.
not
Yes. Not even a single one.
not a single one? And of course, if
Definitely.
you compared the birth of Matthew, the birth story in Matthew, and the birth story in Luke, how you compare those side
Definitely.
by sides.
Definitely. They really disagree on many things. And
Exactly.
this brings me to another point, that's really been when I read it, I never realized it, but now when I'm reading it back, the problem is like when you deconstruct, now I take the Bible for what it is. I don't have to put my own input inside into it.
Mhm.
Because that's why we grow up doing that, because that's how we are taught in the church. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Now I've been reading the story in Matthew. The angel visited Mary, and the angel told Mary, "You're gonna bear a son. It's gonna be the Messiah. It's gonna be the Son of God. It's gonna be this and this and this." Then in Luke, the angel appears in the dream only to Joseph, because
Right.
Joseph was about to divorce Mary. So the
Mhm.
angel told him, "No, don't do that. This kid is gonna be special. He's gonna be the Son of God." So both of them, they are aware of the children that they're gonna have, the child they're gonna have. They are both aware. But then when you go to Luke 40, is Luke 40, to Luke 2:41, when they used to, because every year they used to go to Jerusalem for the festival of the Passover.
Right.
Now Jesus was left behind. When Jesus was left behind, his parents went back to look for him. They found him in the temple. When his parents saw him, they were astonished, and his mother said to him, "Child, why have you treated us like this? Your father and I have been anxiously looking for you." He said to them, "Why are you searching for me? Did you not know that I must be my father's house?" But they did not understand what he said to them. Then he went down with them and came to Nazareth, and was obedient to them. And his mother treasured all these things in her heart. But the question is, if Mary was visited by the angel,
Mhm.
and Joseph also was visited by the angel. And remember, when in Luke 2:22, when they took him in the temple, there was a prophet who's Anna, who told them that this is the Son of God. There was also someone else who also said that this kid is special.
Yep.
But then when he's old, when he's older, when the kid is older, he tells them, "Why are you searching for me? Did you not know I must be in my father's house?" But they did not understand. How can they not understand when they were both literally visited by angels? This thing, if for me, I'm a father, and I know you were a father, because I hear you talk about it. If
Mhm.
an angel ever visited me about my child, I can never forget that encounter. No
Mm-mm.
matter what, I can never forget it.
Nope.
But then for them, they say that that they forgot. They did not understand how. You see how. But it's so hard to get this if you did not read Luke. In Luke, if you did
Right.
not read Matthew and Luke, if you read both, you see this contradiction. You're like, what? How can they not understand? You see?
And most people, when they read the Bible, they just gloss right through. They don't even think about what they are reading.
Definitely.
They're so trained in their mind to just read through those parts without contemplating them and just waiting for someone to preach it to them, that unless a pastor were to preach that, they're not ever going to think about it.
Definitely.
But when you're deconstructing, when you're reading it, and you don't even have to be deconstructing, you can just be reading it and thinking about it. It'll cause you to deconstruct. But when you're reading it and you're thinking about each aspect of the story, like you just laid it down, which was brilliant. I think I'm gonna just clip this part as well, just like I did Nub, and just let that be a video by itself, because it makes so much more logical sense when you think about it. The fact that how could they forget? That's crazy that they would forget something of that magnitude. That would be like me forgetting when my oldest child had a drowning incident. And from that drowning incident, she developed a stutter. And then we went through years of training her so that she wouldn't stutter anymore. But I would have to forget the drowning incident and be like, Sydney, why are you stuttering? When I know the cause of the stutter, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, you're definitely
So,
right. Can you still can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Yes, you're definitely right. You can never forget it. You can never, unless that's what I'm saying. One, maybe Mary and Joseph were not good parents. Maybe I don't know what to say. Because how can you forget that? How can you?
You cannot, and that is such a valid point of how were they able to forget something as amazing as an angel visiting you and telling you how special your child is, named your child for you. Then it's supported by two people in Jerusalem who are telling you again, who don't even know you, how special your child is. And then you all of a sudden forget. That's bullshit. Thank you for pointing that out.
Yes. Then something else too that always like, the people.
You're a little muffled now.
Read this verse.
You're muffled.
Oh, can you? How about now?
Come closer to your mic.
Hello. Can you hear me now?
It's still a little muffled, but better.
How about now?
That's great.
All right. Then something else too people don't see when they read, Luke chapter 2. Something that they don't see is also, if you read verse 50, when they say, but they did not understand why he said to them. 51 says, then he went down with them and came to Nazareth and was obedient to them, and his mother treasured all these things in her heart. How can a no being be obedient? That means Jesus was once not obedient, because if they say even the mother treasured that he was obedient, that means it's kind of like they are insinuating that him going to the temple, leaving them behind, it was kind of like a disobedience. You know what I'm saying? And she treasured them in her heart. I really don't get this part unless you mean Jesus was once now obedient to his parents. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So think about it from, I'm going to give you two perspectives. The first one, culturally. From the Hebrew or the Jewish perspective, you have the bar mitzvah, which happens in around 12, 13 years of age, right? So the child is not held accountable for their actions until they hit that bar mitzvah age. And then that is when they have to start being obedient to the laws of Moses. So in the book of Matthew the book of Luke is written kind of for Gentiles and for a Jewish audience, primarily for a Gentile audience, but they have to add the Jewish part to it. But it's kind of insinuating the coming of age to where now Jesus was held accountable for the Mosaic law. Now, because of this, the second perspective, it's a book that's not part of the canonized Gospels, but is called the Infancy Gospel of Thomas. And in the Infancy Gospel of Thomas, before Jesus hits this age of bar mitzvah, this age of accountability, he's pushing kids off a roof. He pushed this kid off a roof. The kid dies, and then he brings the kid back to life.
Back to life, yes. I know
He's
that.
turning clay doves into real birds. He's a mischievous little bastard. Right? So you have this, and that's. But many people don't like the Infancy Gospel of Thomas, but that kind of demonstrates this mindset of Jesus going from being a regular little child doing regular children things, but got some God powers. And then when Luke establishes, after his bar mitzvah age, now he's held accountable. So now he's being obedient.
You are definitely right. That's like hitting it to the nail, And this is what I always say that Jesus was not special. So I've been sitting down and analyzing the lives of Jesus. I've been really sitting down and let me see if this person was special. He never lied, and I found out that this guy lied. You know, this guy lied, but like I was pointing out, I was talking to my father. My father is a pastor, and I've been trying to have this
Closer
conversation.
to the mic. Closer to the mic.
You know what? I think it's my headphones. Let me just take them out.
Oh, you got a ragged ass iPhone.
Yes. How about now?
Perfect.
Yeah. Thank you. Sorry about that. Yeah, I was just like using my AirPod Max. I don't know why my I don't know why they don't work very well. I don't get it.
Because
But anyway, yes. I've been trying to analyze like the lies, or the lies of Jesus, and I've been having conversation with many people, but they always seem they want to find a way how to to defend it, to defend these lies. First of all, there is in Mark 2:25, verse 25 to 26. Jesus was talking to his disciples, and he said, and he said to them, "Have you never read what David did when he and his companion were hungry and in the need of food? How he entered the house of God when Abiathar was high priest and ate the bread of the presence, which is not lawful for any but the priest to eat, and he gave some to his companions." But as somebody who grew up, I read so much the Old Testament more than the New Testament. But because I know so much the Old Testament, I'm gonna realize this is a lie already. Because I know in First Samuel 21, verse 2 up to 5 is why he talks about this story. This story, the high priest was not Abiathar. The high priest was Ahimelech. So this is also, if Jesus is God and is all knowing, then did Jesus make a mistake or the author of First Samuel? But the Christian will say, "Oh, it's Jesus, is the author of First Samuel." But for me, I'm not gonna believe that, because First Samuel was written before Mark. You know
Yeah.
how how am I gonna choose first for like Mark instead of First Samuel? And this is some of the things that start to make me understand that Matthew and Luke were copying Mark. They were really copying Mark, because when Matthew and Luke, when they talk about this story, they remove the priest, the name of the priest. They don't say the name of the high priest, because they realize that Mark just made a blunder. They don't want to include it, so they just ignore the name. They just say the high priest. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And it also demonstrates that the author of Mark
Yes.
knew some Hebrew, knew
Mm-hmm.
some of the Old Testament, but wasn't a scholar of it, because
Definitely.
making this mistake, just like they misquote other parts of the Bible, that they say Jeremiah said this, but then it's not Jeremiah who said it, it's Malachi who says it. So they're misquoting aspects of the Old Testament because they're trying to fit Jesus into it, but they don't know it well enough to be able to get it right. So scholastically, it's just scribal writers not knowing the information correctly, or being taught a doctrine instead of being taught what was actually in the scrolls themselves. Because people today believe certain things are in the Bible, but they're not. In the Bible, like what was that popular song? The saying, "God would never put more on you than you can bear." People not understand that as a doctrine, but they don't know it doesn't say that.
Definitely.
That's not the meaning of it. It says that God would never put more on you that you can bear without an escape.
Oh my
You're
God.
not supposed to bear it. He's supposed to provide a way out for you. But because of a popular song and a misteaching, people think that that's all the Bible says about that. So when the Jesus character, it does make the Jesus character into a liar, because
Definitely.
somebody who can't speak it. He's also demonstrated as a liar when he says that there are those among you who are standing here right now who
not test death
before he returns with all the glory of the kingdom of God.
Yes.
And the other bastards were still alive. All them dead. All them are dead. And
You're
Jesus
definitely right.
with the full glory of the kingdom and the end time happening.
Yeah, and this is was really the thing that really helped me to really fully go like go all the way in with my deconstruction. As soon as I realized that Jesus was a liar, this is
Mhm.
was the last thing that really broke the camel's back. This was the last thing that really made me realize all these things. And I started to really dig deeper. Even though Christians will say, oh, those are just minimal, you are just caring about small stuff. No, these things matter, because these things, they are the ones that have created all these other denominations. Even though you say they are small, but they really matter. Jesus lying to his disciples that he was going to come back during their generation is what made these people keep on holding to this belief. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
So
yeah.
so like another lie so we are so everybody can know we are here just proving the lies that Jesus made to show that Jesus is not special. He was lying too. There is another one that I just discovered like yesterday, the parable of the mustard seed. When you are reading it, you don't realize it. But the parable of the mustard seed, verse 30, when he said, no, verse 31, he said, it is like a mustard seed, which when sown upon the ground, it is the smallest of all seeds on earth. But this is a lie. The mustard seed is not the smallest seed on earth. There are many seeds like orchid seeds, poppy seeds. There are many seeds that are smaller than the mustard seed. So if Jesus is God and again is the creator of everything, how can he not know that this is not the smallest seed? You see what I'm saying? That's
Exactly.
another lie.
Completely. Because and it definitely is a lie that he would say that, because and if you're supposed to be all knowing, then you should know that he should be able to say that, and he should be able to know that it's not the smallest seed, and that one day people will be able to question that and say that, well, damn, why did he say that when it's not true?
Definitely.
Because if he's
Yes,
of all time, he would have known that we would be able to question that and see that the information is incorrect.
you're definitely right.
And most Christians just skip over that.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been in churches where they hand out mustard seeds to people, and
Mm.
keep this mustard seed and bury it in your yard, or just keep the mustard seeds as a reminder of what Jesus was saying. And it's like, no, this is not the smallest seed. I live in America. We got plenty of seeds that are smaller than that. You go to Africa and Asia, and you can find seeds that are smaller than that. So
Definitely. And
you should recognize the lie that he's telling.
definitely. And speaking of the mustard seed, when people say that if you have a faith small as the mustard seed, you can move the mountain. This is
Mm-hmm.
something that's really been torturing me since I started this deconstructing, because I was born as a refugee. I grew up in the war during the genocide of Rwanda. I grew up in the war. Then we flee to Tanzania. Then from Tanzania, we went to Burundi. From Burundi, we went to Congo. From Congo, we went to Kenya. From Kenya, we went to Rwanda. From Rwanda, we went to Uganda. And then I came here.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been living in a war all my life. And since as far as I can remember, I grew up my father telling me before the war started in Congo, they were praying so that it doesn't happen, but they believe God is gonna answer them. So now I'm 20. Now I'm 20, 29. Imagine for 29 years, I've seen people praying. My mother fasting. People, millions and millions of people have been praying so that there not be a war in Congo.
Mm-hmm.
But the war still happened this year. This year the war still happened. So my question is this: for the past 30 years, you mean they had if you take all these millions of people that have been praying for Congo so that there is no war in Congo, you mean to tell me there's no any person who has had the seed of a mustard seed in order to stop that war from happening? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But
And
these people, whenever something happened, they'd be like, oh, God did. At least they didn't kill everybody. They killed 20 people, but they didn't kill everybody. That's God. I'm like, what? People still dead. You know what I'm saying? It's like whenever let's say you're in an accident with your family, and you have an accident, and then you are the only survivor and you lose your leg. Christians gonna be like, wow, you was God saved you. But they're gonna ignore that you lost your leg, you lost your kids in the accident. They think that you are now in a better place. How can you be better when You're no longer having your kids. They don't know the pain that comes with that, the pain of losing your leg. They don't know the pain that comes with that, but they're gonna thank God that you survived.
Exactly.
That's
people
really
do that.
hypocritical.
I was down in northern Sudan when the Rwandan genocide was going on.
Oh, okay.
And they I do remember, and I respected the shit out of this man. He was on a crutch, stick, really.
Yes, I know.
And he was leading a group of people into the refugee camp.
Yes.
One of his legs had been blown off. He had maggots and shit dripping off of it. Now, I respected him because he was like their leader and he was their chief, and he made sure that everybody else was taken care of before he would allow himself to be taken care of. So I respected that part of him.
Definitely.
But the next day, there was a incursion of coming in trying to shoot their people in the refugee camp. Now, it was me and my guys who stopped those people from doing what they were doing.
Wow.
Now, they did kill quite a few people before we engaged. We have certain protocols before we can engage.
Yep.
That same man and others was thanking God for them being saved from that refugee camp being overran.
Wow.
And even though I was a Christian at the time frame, I was like, God has shit to do with this.
You guys did a job. You guys helped.
This is us doing our job. And if God where was your prayer beforehand? Where was your prayer before your leg got blown off? Where was your prayer before you had to lead these people a few hundred miles?
Man, it's so sad.
To this refugee camp. Where was your God in all the shit that was happening in Rwanda?
Wow.
Right? Their God was not there. When we evacuated Liberia and all these Christians and stuff, and where was this God during the whole Liberian revolt in 90? Where was your God in all of that? 89, 90. Where was he? He was not around. And I also like to ask, where is this God to be clear, the Nigerians who are in the middle area, the kind of like a demilitarized zone between the northern part that's ran by Muslims and the southern part that's ran by Christians. In this middle area is where people are dealing with, where Christians are having churches burned down and being kidnapped and whatnot. But also Muslims are being kidnapped and Muslims are being killed and their buildings being destroyed. Where is either one of these two gods that's supposed to be saving people from this? And it's only the Sharia Muslims in Nigeria who are doing this thing. Where is their gods? Both Allah and Jesus. To stop this stuff. And I'm sure that some of these people believe in this God to where they should have this faith of a mustard seed. And their faith is not doing a damn thing to stop any of it.
To stop this, you know what I'm saying?
Right. The only thing that will stop it is more force. If the only thing that stopped it in Rwanda was our military force. The only thing that stopped it in Liberia was our military force. The only thing the thing that stopped all of it in Rwanda was Kagame and his military force.
Yes.
Where is it? And where was this guy when Leopold was killing 10 million people in Congo? I know
in Congo. Where was he?
Where was it? You gotta convince these people.
Oh my God.
Of this Jesus, but yet this Jesus is not stopping anything.
Definitely.
Right.
You're
so
definitely right.
Bullshit. And then there's a difference. One version says that there's the part that says when two or three are gathered together in my name, they pray,
in my name, yes.
They tell the mountain to move, the mountain will move. There's another one that says when they are gathered together and have no doubt, then they tell the mountain to move and the mountain will move. Why does one version say that you can't have any doubt? The other version
any doubts? Yes. Oh.
I mean, I think that's a very important. If two people were listening to this,
definitely,
then you cannot miss the part where he says, "and no doubt."
Mm-hmm.
That's integral to the event, to you having that power. Yet,
Mm.
one Christian will have that power, except for when they need a parking spot or they can't find their keys.
Yes.
But when it comes to real shit, none of them can do it.
Oh my God, yeah, I really like what you just said, and I want to thank you for the work that you did. You really did it. I want to thank you. I don't want to thank God. I want to thank you for what you guys did. Because otherwise, some of the people, there are people who are alive today because of what you did. There's a generation that's gonna continue because of what you did. But the other people gonna give thanks to God. For me, I give thanks to the person who did it because I feel like this thing of giving thanks to God to me is kind of even toxic. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of toxic because we don't even realize how we minimize our efforts. This is something I always tell people. If it wasn't for religion, as humanity, we will be so far ahead. We could have even found the problem for hunger. Like we could have solved the problem of hunger, world
Yeah.
hunger. We could have solved it a long time ago. But because I feel like this belief of in believing in God, so I don't know if it's God of the Bible, God of the Muslims or Indians. These beliefs in God made us. They held us back for a long time from achieving a lot of things. Imagine how many times we used to believe diseases are caused by gods. So we're not going to look for medication for those diseases.
Right.
How many times we thought that, oh, the rain, the thunder, they come, oh, God is angry with us. These things held us back from going farther and farther in life. Like Newton, who was one of the smartest people, he reached a point where the things he could not understand, he was bringing the God of the gaps. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Now, some of the things he failed to understand, there are people who are doing it now. You know what I'm saying? He will be surprised if Newton will see now. He'll be like, "Wow, they figured it out." You know what I'm saying? He will be
Exactly.
surprised now because every time we failed, we always say that, oh, Lord of the gaps, God of the gaps, God of the gaps. You know what I'm saying? And this it shows that without this religion we could have been far away. Just imagine how long it took us to create medication that help us, but because of these beliefs they really held us back and we could not even progress in life. One of the things that showed me that this God is not special was even when I was reading the Old Testament and seeing that all the characteristics that we have is the same things that God had. He gets mad, he's jealous, he loves, he bless people, he doesn't want to talk. All the things that we have, they are the ones that this God demonstrates, all the all the characteristics. And then a few days ago, I was reading with my wife Ezekiel. In Ezekiel 5, she did not know about this. When God is terrorizing the people of Israelites with
Hello, Billy.
hello.
Okay, there you go. You back?
Yes, I'm sorry. I think someone was trying to call me.
Okay, it's
So
fine.
yes, I was saying one thing that when we was reading Ezekiel 5, when we reached to verse 10, we seeing how God is terrorizing the people of Israel with cannibalism. My wife was like, "What?" This guy was like, "Yes," because verse 10 it says, "Surely parents shall eat their children in your midst, and children shall eat their parents. I will execute judgment on you, and any of you who survive, I will scatter to every wind." You know what I'm saying? So he was terrorizing these
Yeah.
people with cannibalism, and this is not the first time he does it in the Bible. You know, cannibalism is here. You know what I'm saying, in the Old Testament. So whenever Christians bring the thing like, oh, people are sacrificing to the people are sacrificing to these other gods. That's why they killed the Ammonites. That's why they killed these people because they were doing this, doing that. But this God, he even asked for child sacrifice himself. He even terrorized these people with cannibalism. So how is it different from these other gods that you guys are judging? This tried to show me that all these gods, they are just human made. So these people were doing horrible things, and they were blaming it as it's God who told us. You know, these like, you know, medieval people, these people from the it's not even medieval people from the bronze, these people from the Bronze Age, they were doing horrible stuff and they were attributing it to their gods. You see what I'm saying? And
Yeah, I agree.
as soon as I realized all of these things, I was like, no, 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 no. This God, for me, this is what I always say. Even if this God will come to me as like, even if I'm doubting, like Thomas, if he will show up to me and he be like, he reveals himself to me, I will not worship him still, because he's not a good God. It's like if let's say one day if I believe that Hitler never existed, if Hitler came and like, yo, I exist, I'm real, I will not still support you. You know what I'm saying? I will
Right.
say that, oh, Hitler, you exist, but I don't like you. I don't support you. The same thing that goes to this God. You know what I'm saying? I'll still say, you know what? Because atheism is just lack of belief. It's not a religion. It's just lack of belief that in this existence of this God. So I just lack the belief in the existence of this God. I will still believe that this God exists, but I will not worship him because he has done a horrible thing, and I will not do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. There's no way, even if like this guy's supposed to want everybody to believe in him, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if he, so this guy should know what it would take for me to believe in him, that he exists.
Yes.
And I agree with you 1%, because if he were able to do whatever it is that would make me say, okay, the God of the Bible does exist, then I would be just like you and say, but I cannot worship you. At one point, you told the Israelites that they are to sacrifice their children in the
Yes.
same way that they sacrifice the, you know, the firstborn of a cow or a sheep or a goat. And then later on, you change your mind because other writers are now writing. And now you say that, oh, no, you just have to pay some pieces of like 25 pieces of silver in shekels to redeem your child, because there's not enough, you know, you first do it with a number of Levitical priests. And then if there's not enough Levitical priests, you pay some money, right? If you switch child sacrifice to a cash grab for somebody that's having a baby.
Yes.
So I can't worship you. You're evil that you would allow for them to sacrifice their first child.
And the Christians always said that this was not real, but later on in Ezekiel 20, he confirms that he did tell them to sacrifice. It was literally child sacrifice. It was not just like a metaphor, or you present your firstborn to me. No, it was really, you know, it was really a sacrifice. And this God was boasting, say, because in Ezekiel he say, so I gave them statutes that were not good, and ordinance by which they could not live. I defiled them through their gifts, the sacrifice of every born of every firstborn, so that I might horrify them. So this God, he did them to horrify them, but he did it at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? It's like someone coming here and say that, you know what, if my kid disobeys me, I can cut their hands off. And then you like, maybe it's a metaphor, it's just a metaphor. But later on, he tells you, I did it so that I can horrify my kid. At the end of the day, you still did the deed. You still cut off your hands of your kid. That means you did it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So and when you are doing so, you think that you're showing you have good parents. For me, you just like a shitty parents, you know. So this is the same thing that God was talking to Ezekiel, telling them, "Oh, I gave them the best statute because I wanted to horrify them." You confirms that, you know, you really did you really demanded child sacrifice. You see what I'm saying? So whenever Christians say that, yo, no, it was not real child sacrifice, I always bring them to Ezekiel, show them that he just confirms it. Are you gonna go against God now? You know what I'm saying?
No, I'm with you 100% on that one. And they always like to say, oh, well, where did he say that? And, you know, he that's not what he meant. Because later on, when he says that you will give them according to the number of Levites, it's like, no, you are now taking what somebody wrote later to change what this God is actually saying, right?
Yes.
So, because, like, let me find it real quick. I know it's like Exodus. 12, 13. It says 13.
Mm-hmm.
Go there. Yeah, so when the Lord has brought you into the land of Canaanites, as he swore to you and your ancestors, and has given it to you, you shall set apart to the Lord all your firstborn, the first opens the womb. All the firstborn offspring of your livestock that are males shall be the Lord's. And we know
Yes.
what that means. That's a sacrifice.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But every firstborn donkey shall be redeemed with the sheep. If you do not redeem it, you must break its neck. Every firstborn male among your children you shall redeem.
Definitely.
Children ask, what does this mean? You shall answer, by strength of hand, the Lord brought us out of Egypt and from every house and from the house of slavery. When the Pharaoh stubbornly refused to let us go, the Lord killed the firstborn of all the land of Egypt, from human firstborn to firstborn of the animals. Therefore, I sacrifice to the Lord every first male that first opens the womb, but every firstborn of my sons I redeem. I give you a sign in the hand, that is the emblem in the forehead and the strength and love. So that is basically, you are sacrificing your firstborn in the same way that you do the donkeys and the
Definitely.
and
Yes.
all of your livestock, because you are saying thank you, God, for bringing us out of Egypt. And then later on, because they switch it up and say that, oh, the priest, the Levitical priest, because they recognize this is messed up.
This is messed up.
Like the damn the rest of these bastards in the sacrificing of our children.
Yes.
And then because it is not until Numbers where he says that the Levites will be a substitute for the firstborn. So if he meant the Levites are the substitute for the firstborn, that should have been in Exodus as well. But it's not in Exodus.
It's not in Exodus.
The example is exactly the same way that you would sacrifice the firstborn male of all your livestock.
You're definitely right.
For a time, child sacrifice, which is called a Moloch. Moloch is not a god.
It was not a god. Definitely. There you go.
Sacrifice. So it is later on that they say, oh, we got to change this shit up. And say that this is what God meant in Exodus. That's not what he meant in Exodus. He meant what he said in Exodus.
Yes.
But it seems so abhorrent to Jews and Christians today that they have to focus on what Numbers says instead of focusing on what Exodus or Ezekiel says. About them doing child sacrifices. And archaeologically, there is some evidence of ancient Israelite churches that seem to have done child sacrifices.
Yes.
So we even have it within their own archaeology that this is what they did.
Yes, sir.
Of course, they blame, they say that, oh, that's why we went into Assyrian captivity, and because Ezekiel is written during the Assyrian captivity. The first part of it is written during Assyrian. The middle part is written during the Babylonian, and the last part is written after the Babylonian, during the Persian. So they're changing this narrative as their culture change. So they're changing their God as the culture changes.
The culture change. Soon as you realize that, the Bible starts to crumble. Soon as you realize all of those edits, the adding, the removing. As soon as you realize the Bible, the authors, people who are editing, who are adding, who are removing, who are trying to find a way how they can maybe interpret in another way to make it like a cover up. It's so hard to understand these things if you don't really read it carefully. The same thing when you see Genesis 1, Genesis 2, these are two different creations, and you're gonna understand that these people, they just merge the stories together. These the northern tribe, the southern tribe, this is what they are creation story, and they took it from other nations too. They were not the first ones, So as soon as you start to understand that the Bible has a lot of those things, you start to understand that, oh, this is human creation, because for me, I've always had a question. Even I was talking to a Muslim the other day. I'm like, if this is the word of God, why does he need a human to decide which one to include it? You know, why does the human have to decide? You know what I'm saying? Like even when you see the canonization of the Bible, it took so long. There were many arguments. There were many canceled so that they can just decide what book to include. You know, so if this is the word of God, why do human have to really and all these humans, they never say, "Oh, God told me this is the book that we're supposed to choose." No, it was their choice. It's not, "Oh, God told me this is the one that's really good. This is not what's good." You know, this is scripture. There are many books that were once considered scripture, but that are not in the Bible. You know, they were once considered scripture, but they are not in the Bible. But when you read, you know, some of the letters of the church father, they were quoting these books like they were scriptures. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So whenever you start to realize all these things, you start to understand that, you know, these things are just human made. I always tell this story. I always tell people this because I grew up reading, even though I never went to school that much, but because I liked reading. My mother was highly educated and she told me to always read. So read is really something that I do for, you know, I really like reading. So, but whenever I start to read, I always want to know the author. I always want to search the author. I always want to look for the author. Who's the author so I can know, you know what I'm saying? So there is a day you were on a podcast few days ago. You was on a call show. I forgot which call show you was on,
Truth
but you
Bonded.
said, yeah, I think that was it. You said something. There's someone who gave you like an advice when it comes to reading. When it comes to the, I forgot what you said. I just forgot what you said. I can't remember what you said about, you know, the knowing the how important it is to know the author of a book. You know how
Oh,
important
yeah.
it is.
You don't know the history of the you don't know you you have to know the history of the author in order to know what you're reading.
Definitely. There you go. There you go. Wow. That
There
was so
is
profound. That was so profound because when I was reading the Bible, I always thought, who's the author of the Bible? People say, oh, it's God. But when I read on the book, I'm not seeing God anywhere. They say King James version. So I always wondered, who was King James? So when I started to read King James and realize, oh, this was not even a translation. This was a revision. Oh my God. I was like, King James is so bad. Is this? It's a revision. It's not even a translation. So whenever people say God, I was so intrigued. But I was like, you know what? Let me do a research on the Bible. So I always tell people, if you are deconstructing, first understand where the Bible came from. How was it put together? As soon as you understand that, everything start to crumble. So that's how you start to even read it with your full sense in it. Because if you don't do that, you're gonna read the same way people read in the church, thinking that this is the word of God, not knowing someone had to decide what to put in this Bible. Someone decided, you
yeah,
know, and this took years and years. It took centuries, you know.
yeah. And when you look at the history of the authorship, what another thing that many people don't consider is that one book is not written by one author most of the time. That
Definitely
you have
not.
multiple authors over a span of 100 years or more that is
Definitely.
writing this book. So,
Yes.
like when you look at Ezekiel or Daniel, these are not written by those people in one shot. This is written over hundreds of years, or
And most of them, they are written after the fact.
and exactly the whole Exodus story, everything in Numbers and Leviticus. These are written way after the fact. The writing most likely started in and around 700, 750 BCE, and then they're written and changed over the next 200 to 300 years.
Mm-hmm.
So you're getting this huge difference in time of different authors under different circumstances who are
Yes,
writing
sir.
under a different culture and political situation. So it's when you understand that, then you can see why Exodus may say one thing, and then later on Exodus says something else,
Something
or
else.
one
Yes.
and then he says something else. It's because it's written during these different time frames.
Yes, you're definitely right.
Yeah.
You're definitely right. The something that always kills me. The something that always kills me. That show the in if someone is listening, a good example is the example in Genesis. In Genesis, I believe it's 5. You know, when I think it's 4. I think it's 4 in Genesis 5 when God is giving is punishing Cain for killing his brother Abel, like he tells him that you will wander for the rest of your life and stuff, and then after that Cain found a wife, builds a seed and stuff. You're like, what? Hold up. God just says he's gonna wander for the rest of his life. He's gonna
Right.
what just happened? You just like, oh, you just understand there are many authors that was adding because it does not make any sense. You know what I'm saying? When God told Cain, I will punish you this way, but then few verses later, Cain got he built a city. You're like, what?
Exactly. 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 Well,
That
look,
that always kills me.
it does. And I'm gonna let some other people get on, Billy. I appreciate you.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Coach. I will try my best to always come to your live stream to speak to you and
Oh yeah.
whenever we bring in some topics because I really enjoy your videos. They are really eye opening. Sometimes I'm always in your comments. There is a guy who always try to there's a Christian. This guy called Joseph. This guy is always on you. I always go in the comment try to respond to him every time. This guy he does not know what he talks about. His name is Joseph. Every time he's always calling you. Oh, you are ignorant. Oh, Lorenzo, again you are ignorant for this. He always writes long
Oh, I know who
paragraphs.
you're talking about. Yeah, in the comments on damn near every video.
On almost every video. So I always go back and I correct him, but he never responds to me. I always get mad. But I understand though. Apologetic. They can do
Yeah,
anything for their faith.
actually, yesterday I invited him to come on to the live, but he was like, "I'm at work and I only get a 30-minute lunch break, and I'm not going to waste my 30-minute lunch break on talking to you because I'm gonna eat something at that time frame." So I just told him, I said, "You know what? This is why I never read his comments."
Yeah, no, the guy, he does not know what he's talking. Don't even bother. Don't even bother. Even me, I'm just gonna start to leave him alone because, well, what I've understood is just like his bias is off the roof. You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing you can do to these type of people. It's kind of almost like the Hebrew Israelite, the one that you was talking about. These
Yeah,
people believe things. It's like almost the same thing. Some Africans believe, oh, Christianity was there in Africa way before in Ethiopia. I'm like, what are you guys talking about?
yeah,
These people, they are just brainwashed. That's why one of my favorite quotes that I wrote is like, I keep my brain dirty. I keep my brain dirty. You can never brainwash me because I keep it dirty. People want to brainwash people, so these people are brainwashed by these ideas. That's why I always tell people, for me, I keep my mind dirty. Let me keep my mind dirty because I don't want to be
like that.
brainwashed. You know what I'm saying?
I might steal that.
So I want to thank you so much. I'm let other people come in. I want to thank you. Maybe, hopefully, maybe one day I might host a show with you. I don't know, but I really appreciate you. Everything that you do, you've helped me a lot in
No,
my in my
yeah,
in my story. When I'll be thanking people who helped me deconstruct, and because it's so hard to deconstruct. If you've been going through this, you know how hard it is. The mental, like you do, how mentally, how you feel. Some days I couldn't even wake up because this is something I believed all my whole life. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
It feels up to now I'm still grieving my belief. It's like I'm still grieving. But having people like you, people like Justin from the construction zone, these people, they really help, and I really want to thank you. And in one of my books that I'm writing, in my preface, I'll be like, maybe you, maybe Justin. I want to find someone who can write, the introduction of the book, maybe you and Summer. But I just know I respect you, and I can't wait to come to talk to you, once more. And I really appreciate everything that you do. Thank you. And to everybody who's going through this journey, just know you're not alone.
yeah,
Whenever you feel like you need some help to talk to somebody, you can come and talk to Coach. He's a good person, and I've seen him talk to people. I've seen him his life. You can tell the person that he is. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we always try to judge people, but you can tell that Coach is really somebody, who's really good and who can understand, who give people time to talk, and they can listen to them. And he always tells you, go also check the resource yourself. Don't believe what he says. Go also do your own research. And someone who's honest like that, I will always want to really support people like you, because you know that you might be, even though you're wrong, you can say, admit here I was wrong. So
right.
thank you so much for whatever that you do. Thank you.
I appreciate you. And I put my email in the comment section. So send me an email and we'll talk about co-hosting, okay?
Let me see. In here on the chat, in the
in the chat.
StreamYard.
Yeah, in the
Okay,
chat.
put the email. Yes, I'm really.
Yeah.
All right.
Maybe that's something I'll start doing, having like a co-host on certain days.
Thank you so much. Okay, I'll be waiting for the email to pop out. Then after I will just put it in. I will send you an email. Thank you so much, Coach.
All right, appreciate you.
All right.
All right. Let's see. I'm trying to go in the order to which, how they say, and to which everyone was received that I saw them pop up. So patience is a virtue. Cheryl, unmute your mic, young lady. Hello, Cheryl. Oh, Cheryl got the camera on and everything.
Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I'm so excited to be able to speak to you and your audience.
Thank you.
I'm really grateful. Yes, sir. First of all, I'm just tickled pink to know that we have people like you who are first of all, you're very well studied, very well spoken, and you're also willing to disseminate some very unpopular viewpoints. Spirituality and religion is how we have been controlled. So it's a tool. You know what I'm saying? And it is a mighty tool, especially by the time people benefit from it. It's always a small amount of people benefiting from it, though. It's never a large, an entire nation of people benefiting from it. I used to be a Hebrew Israelite. That's what I was calling up to speak with you about. Do you mind?
No, I don't. I saw that in the comments, so I would love to hear that.
Well, let me tell you this. They use the Bible. One of the things I noticed as a Hebrew Israelite, when I first came in many years ago, I've been practicing for over 30 years. So you can't tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. One thing I noticed, they used to pick at Christians about, and I didn't like it because I thought, first of all, we were supposed to be about the business of saving souls for the Most High. They would always pick at Christians about having, churches on every corner, and they use the same book, but yet and still, you teaching different doctrines. You can't come together. There's no unity, right? When I tell you that is one characteristic that has followed the Hebrew Israelites. The Hebrew Israelites that I started out with, they believed in what one would consider as the whole Bible, right? That was them. When I was kicked out of that congregation, I was kicked out because I was visiting the leader of a former Hebrew Israelite organization in my city, who used to be with that organization that I was with. And I'm like, these people are far closer to knowing who the Most High is. And, we could expand our numbers and be able to do greater things, bigger and better things for our people, whether it's in the congregation, whether it's our race of people or whatever, because, we are a subjugated people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And those people kicked me out of the organization because I was visiting with a former member of their congregation, right? Now, this was the difference. The place I was with at first, but it's true. The place I was with at first, they practiced Old Testament, New Testament. So they believed in the Mashiach. I know you've heard that term, right? Meaning JC.
JC? Yep.
JC, Jesus Christ, right? The second place, once I was kicked out of that place, I went and just became a member of the other location. They only practice out of the Old Testament. Okay, so you have Old Testament Hebrew Israelites, you have Old and New Testament Hebrew Israelites. Okay, that's their distinctions.
Yes.
And they are They're pretty serious about it until it comes to doing something productive.
That part.
That part. Okay. My big loud mouth was one of the sisters who didn't know her place. I didn't give it. I didn't care because I don't have a place. They don't want you to think for yourself. Even though I can honestly say I learned the Bible by becoming a Hebrew Israelite. I used to be a Christian. I was a Christian for almost 30 years before I became a Hebrew Israelite.
Mm-hmm.
Got me? So once I left Christianity, I went back into Hebrew Israelite Christianity, and then I became a total non-Christian at the last place I attended, right? That's the truth of it. I'm able to define that. Nobody has to tell me that. That was what happened. But let me tell you what I do know for a fact. These people are attending worship for a number of very surface and esoteric reasons. Whether they see it or not, they don't have to, but I can define it. They are attending because it's social.
Mm-hmm.
It's a place to meet up. It's a place to put some cute clothes on and show up and hear some bad music, because very few Hebrew Israelites had good choirs. Very few. The music was terrible. They ain't got sense enough to play a daggum CD, and be through with it. But they also, to me, they want to be able to rule over women and children.
Indeed.
They want to make children, and I'm talking about the leadership. So I'm not talking about women.
Right.
But the men just want, they teach very well. What's in that book, you can even go back and forth with them only to a degree. I never will forget, brother, they got into a stomp down, hard up war with each other about a word. You know what word it was?
What's that?
Day, D-A-Y. What does day mean? They didn't understand. And you had people like me. I'm like, you really are arguing about this. When it first started, people like myself and my husband, I would say, I'm not going to brag on him too much. He did his dirt. But we had sense enough to see that the word day means more than one thing. It doesn't just mean when the sun is out. They argued about this for years. They felt like day only meant when the sun was out.
No, it's a whole 24-hour day. Sun, darkness, doesn't matter.
That's another definition of day. That's two of them. And then there's the third definition of day. A period of time. In the day of Ahaz. That could have been 50 years. Ahaz could have reigned for 50 years. Okay, a woman's cycle in the day of her uncleanliness. Right. So at night, she's not clean, even though she's still bleeding.
Exactly.
I'm telling you, it got stupid fast on some things, but you know what I never saw? I never saw us buy any land. I never saw us plant sweet potatoes, tomatoes, so that, if it's anybody in the congregation who could stand to have, their meals supplemented, they could do it. I never saw us take any money and invest it in stocks and bonds. And I never saw anybody take the time out to help us to understand credit. Everybody walking around stupid and broke. If you weren't working for the man, you're walking around stupid and broke.
Yep.
See, this, I'll be 60 at the end of this month. I went into the Hebrew Israelite way of life when I was, I'm going to say, in my early 30s. Right. And that was when I married my husband, right? Who became a very competent, well-spoken Hebrew Israelite minister, but he walked off from his family and nobody had a problem with that. And they always pushing this family. Oh, they had no problem with that because that was moray.
Mm-hmm.
That was moray. And I mean, no matter what I said, no matter how much they saw, this man didn't come home to be with his 5 beautiful children, of which, let me tell you, the youngest daughter is getting her master's degree. That'll be her 2nd college degree this week. Yeah. So all the kids graduated with honors. My children are doing very well. I was homeschooling when he abandoned us. So you know that wasn't pretty.
No.
But none of the leadership took action when it was doable. They waited until it was too late to have anything to say about it. So but I'm just telling you, everything that young man and you are saying to the listening audience, you all are on fire. Y'all are 100% right. I started pulling away from this information when I started hearing about people like Dr. Ben, Dr. John Henry Clark, heard Dr. Claude Anderson speak. I started listening to other people, in that realm, and I started learning more about African-centered spirituality. They want to keep people fastened up in that place of worship one day a week, and it's enough. It's enough to keep our people's minds, even though they've elevated above Christianity, which is very inducing, just drug-inducingly, it'll stupefy you. But Hebrew Israelites are stupefied too, because they cannot, very much so, they cannot think outside of what they love. They don't understand. You're going on a feeling, baby. We need to be trying to find out what the truth is, what the facts are. And one of the things I had a problem with was the Bible. Some of the precepts of the Bible, how that young man mentioned that the Lord God, I was the person that discovered that in my place of worship. How the Lord said that he would give them laws by which they should not follow, and precepts by which they should not live. I remember being I had to just hammer that home. You see what I'm saying? And so, I don't know. You can ask me some questions if you'd like.
I mean, you stated most of the things that I have problems with the Hebrew Israelite movement in itself. One, the fact that it is divided. If it's supposed to be this true and understanding of this God, then there should not be a division of those trying to accept their rendition of the Jesus character, and then you've got the other side that's saying that no, the Messiah hasn't come yet, and then so they're still holding on to the Old Testament aspect of it. And I find it to be a group of disenfranchised men who see this as a way to control their family, control their women. They're not trying to control the society abroad, right? Because if they were, they would be trying to go over to Israel and take the land, right? But they're not. They're staying here in America. And you even got a section of them who say that America is Israel. And you got a section that says America is Egypt. So they're, and they are producing nothing out of this other than marching down the street, looking at, or standing on the corner with their Power Ranger outfits on. But it's all talk. There's zero action behind it.
A lot of time wasting.
Exactly, a lot, tons of time. I put them in the. I want to put them in the category of Jehovah's Witnesses, but at least Jehovah's Witnesses is buying land. At least they are trying. You can. Well, I know in Atlanta they own land and they have their own markets and things of that nature. But the Hebrew Israelite as a group haven't created their own space. They haven't really built an educational system that can compete with or better than the educational system that their children normally would go into the public schools. They're doing nothing. but a whole bunch of hot air on a bunch of broke ass men to try to make them whole but keep them financially broke and keep their women down. Right. So, and then of course, like you brought up the pretty much polygamy aspect of it. They just want to have as many women as they can and produce as many children as they can. Right. Did y'all have polygamy in your group?
Yes, let me make a distinction too. I was not a part of Power Ranger Hebrew Israelites.
Okay.
The USIPK, that was not what I was affiliated with. But yes, polygamy was heavily discussed. And I used to tell them all the time, I said, it seems to me that you all are more interested in putting the cart before the horse. I said, I don't know any of you men who are in here who are industrious enough to even pull that kind of rank where you ought to be multiplying wives to yourselves. You don't have that kind. That's an economic move.
Yeah, it is.
More than it is anything. It's not about love. And even probably you and I have come to discover, even when we were Christians, the more we matured, the more we understood that relationship building is a decision that you are making for multiple reasons. And one of those reasons should mainly be financial, not how you feel, because how you feel can change. How you feel about a person can change, right? But yeah, they were very interested. They would talk about it all the time. Where the Most High said it. Oh, so you don't believe in what the Most High said. I said, also the Most High said that if you make a vow that before the Most High, you're supposed to keep that vow. The man I was married to, before we became married, we were studying as Hebrew Israelites, right? So this is going back to my personal story. I told him, I'm not down with multiple wives. If that's the kind of woman you want, I'm not the one for you. We got married anyway because he put a baby in me. Okay. So when we started having children together, we went on and got married. I shouldn't have done it. I really shouldn't have done it. But when you're young and you're trying to do right, so you can make mistakes. You can make poor decisions. Because it was a decision, wasn't a mistake, but it was a poor mistake. Okay, but on down the line, I come to discover at the end of the day, that was the reason I got abandoned. Me and the kids got abandoned because I come to discover that he went out and divided wives to himself. But you had already divided 4 children. Into my family. I had a child when we met. He said that was his child, ran the daddy off, right? I shouldn't have let that happen, but I'm young, I'm stupid, made a poor decision. I wasn't stupid, made a poor decision. So he ran that man off. Now we got 5 kids together, and you're going to just up and abandon your children. So you could go make,
Doesn't that supposed to go against their teachings?
I know it does. You're a very smart man. It goes against Christianity. Yeah. But he did it. And look, still is accepted in all our circles. That's the one. Now, if anybody is not accepted, and if they get this video, I could care less. Because guess what? I do believe in God. I just don't believe I can find my God in that Bible with people, who act as treacherously and inappropriate against what they say they believe. They don't even practice. Nobody's supposed to be obedient, worth anything but women and children. I'm even talking about to the point of wanting to kill killing your child for disobedience. But now this man ain't dead for walking out from his responsibility.
So
say it again.
You went mechanical for a second. So did you say that something about they're not about killing the children or something?
The Bible teaches that there are things that you should kill your children and your wives for. Right. That you're supposed to kill your daughters for. All that kind of stuff. You're supposed to just untie a man's shoe and he's supposed to be shamed, or you're supposed to spit on him. I don't see those same punishment. Not that it was promoted or taught. Well, it was taught because it's in the Bible.
Right.
But once again, those are some of the fear factors that the Bible provides for these men to spew and to spout in the ears and in the minds of the congregation.
No, I agree 100% because, you know, when you're, according to the Bible, for instance, if a woman is not a virgin on her wedding night and the proof of her virginity is not provided, then she is taken to the door, her father's door, and stoned to death by the men of the town.
Mm-hmm.
So they teach those kind of things to try to control the pum pum of the woman, trying to control the birth of a woman, so that they can maintain their power and maintain where their inheritance goes. They don't follow those because they know that they would go to jail if they did, but they want to subject them to those rules, to those threats of rules. But then when they violate the rules, they don't subject themselves to those very same rules, right?
No. Yes, you're right. And to add to what you're saying, where they don't even seek sovereignty. That was another thing I used to talk about. Well, why aren't we more sovereign? Even here in America, there are towns like my hometown ought to be purchased up.
Your mic went out.
Hold on. Let me.
Okay, there you go. You back. Oh.
Hold on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
I got a phone call trying to come.
Nah, yeah, that happens. Wait a minute.
So,
go ahead. Sovereignty.
Okay. There, you know, the Bible alludes to us being able to do these things in our sovereignty. We're in the land of our oppressor, according to what's in the Bible. Okay. There has never been a time where money has passed through the black man's fingers as it has been in our season of being in this nation. We can come and go as we please, just about, right?
Right.
And yet it's still, I don't see a big effort because see, sovereignty is work. Sovereignty, in order to be sovereign, you have to have a backbone. You have to have your manhood on you. You have to practice certain things, and you have to have principles in place. You know, a code of conduct. You have to establish all of that. They want to play. That's what it is. They really want, just like you said, it's just all psychological babble, sound good entertainment. That's really, they love to eat. Well, you got to eat at every meeting. Can't we just bring some apples and sit down and let that be the focus? The women got to always be in the kitchen cooking. I'm not doing that mess. I'm not. I used to tell them I'm not going in the kitchen this Sabbath because I used to keep the Sabbath. It was hard to break because you know, I developed wonderful friendships. I really did. So wonderful people are participating in sincerity, but I still say we look in that book. All of us look in that book together. And when we see something contradictory, a lot of them were hard to release it. I'm telling you, they sit up there and they just majored in minors over the word day for years. Also that they could be right.
Yeah.
When number one, the word day it's from the English language. The English language has words that have multiple meanings, totally different from the other one. And that's all the word day, you know. But I'm just saying how I don't see, if you're going to be organized for your salvation, organized for your children to have something to plug into that they could stand on in the future. Black people just not doing that with their organizations, religious or otherwise. Believe in God that much, but they won't.
people won't do that unless they are forced to. And in our world today, a lot of people are afraid to do it. You know, we've seen where after the Civil War, we had many Black communities that grew and they were strong. And of course, we know the history that they were destroyed and taken through the Jim Crow and so on and so forth. But like you said, we don't live in those times today. You're not going to be able to come into a wealthy Black town and just burn it down or destroy it or take the land, right? We have the ability. So with such an organization as, you know, the Hebrew Israelites, they could go to some of these small towns and take over the town, take over all the politics of the town, take over. I mean, I'm talking about politics from the top to the bottom, you know, down to the sanitation commission. They could take all the power of a town if they all just moved there. And then when they take that power, they can then determine that will be a level of sovereignty within the United States in the same way that the Maccabees were able to establish sovereignty within the Greek Empire, you know, for what, about 30, 40 years, they established their own kingdom, their own sovereignty within the Greek Empire. There's nothing stopping them from doing that except for themselves, because they know they're not equipped to do so and they're afraid to do so. But what they like,
it's not even that. You give them too much credit. You give them too much credit. You cut that out. It's not that. They are not. Let me tell you the problem. And like I said, these are people I love and care about. They're just not motivated. Make the sacrifice. Okay. How about now?
Okay, gotcha.
Okay. Dr. Malcolm Tanner is catching hell in Texas. Have you heard of Dr. Malcolm Tanner?
No.
He's in Texas and he's giving homes away for free. If you all are listening to me now and y'all haven't heard about him, please look him up. Dr. Malcolm Tanner. He's on Facebook. And, he's doing just what we're talking about right now, right? And I'm seriously considering joining what he's doing. He is under fire. So let's not say what these people won't do when they see folk trying to do, you know, trying to do them. They will try. But I mean, what do we look like continuing down the path we've been going?
Yeah. What about in Texas? Because I'm in Texas.
Ooh, child, there you go asking good. You better look it up.
Okay. I'll look it up. I'll look him up.
Yes, sir. His name is, he's a wonderful guy. He is giving homes away for free, according to him.
Now, of course, there's always going to be people fighting against it. Nobody's going to just give up their power for free. So when the power structure sees somebody trying to do something, yeah, they're going to try. I'm just saying that they can't do it the same way they used to do it back in the day. You know, they can't use their own laws against them. But we have to, you know, that's why I say everything has to be established correctly in such a way that you can fight against the power based on how power structures are set up right now. But
I'm just saying they didn't make the effort.
But they're not, you're right.
They won't even make the effort. That's not their interest. They just wanna do what churches have been doing all along, is have that once a week, eat, collect a little money, you know, have a little popularity, you know, beat people down because they are very knowledgeable of the Bible. Not saying perfectly, but you learn the Bible very well. That's where I learned the Bible from. I was 30 years as a Christian. Knew a lot, didn't know enough, know half of what I learned as a Hebrew Israelite. So I love that part of our practice. I'm no longer Hebrew Israelite. I practice African-centered spirituality. At least I'm learning it. So I'm more into what you're doing and what you're about than what I used to be about, because I see the Bible as a fraud. How can Gutenberg be the person that we get our Bible from and we following it? Gutenberg is not a Hebrew Israelite. The printing press was made by Gutenberg. Come on now.
Right.
You broke up.
All these different translations. Okay, yeah, my stagnant for a second. I went and looked up your guy, Malcolm Tanner, real quick. He's in Loving County, Texas. I didn't get that.
That's it.
Where that's located.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, right now he's using 5 acres to build houses on for people. But that's a start. Of course, the government is trying to fight against him, but this is where you have to be able to stand the government's against you. So, yeah, I mean, it's about making or not making the effort. My computer's doing something stupid again. Wait a minute, y'all still there?
I can hear you.
Okay, you can hear me? Okay, so it's just what I see. But yeah, these making the effort to be able to justify it, and they can utilize the Bible to say it. You know, Joshua, in the book of Joshua, he goes in and he supposedly conquers all these lands, and you know, separate the tribes into their different lands and whatnot. The Hebrew Israelites, especially like the ones here in Texas, the ones here in San Antonio, you know, they're getting the Hispanics on board with them. Line went dark. Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah.
I can.
But they have. Okay. So they're trying to get the Spanish people here in San Antonio to join in with them and saying that they're from a different. I forgot what tribe. But yet they're not buying the land. They're not establishing, you know, they're not establishing their own communities and whatnot. They just want to meet and greet and eat and then stand on the street corners.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's just no sustainability.
I was just saying they'll know Old Testament. They'll know it and they'll repeat it. And then they'll have their own doctrine. They're basing everything within it on. You know, they'll take what Deuteronomy was 28:68 and try to make you think that that's the transatlantic slave trade, right? And then they'll co-opt history in order to try to validate it. When actually and what's funny is they will use the Edomites, as they like to call them, maps to say that this was the kingdom of Judah. And so the kingdom of Judah is where the transatlantic slaves came from in some instances. And I'm like, how are you the very map that you claim the white people wrote or designed and trying to say that that's true because it fits your narrative? But then any other aspects of what a white person says that is against your narrative, then you want to say, oh, that's the Edomites, they always lie. But you take this map that an Edomite made, did not know how to pronounce Vayuda, and so they just said Kingdom of Judah. And when I see that,
when there were no J's, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is, the Kingdom of Vayuda has nothing to do with Judah. It was just a Portuguese man who did not want to use the word Vayuda because that's hard in the Portuguese language. So he just said Kingdom of Judah. You're going to take this Portuguese dude's word in order to facilitate your story, because you know the Dahomey were fighting a war against them, and they were selling the Vayuda tribe into slavery to the Portuguese. But the overwhelming majority of them never came to North America. They all went to the Caribbean and into South America. So how in the hell are you North American black people from the Kingdom of Vayuda when they didn't come here? See, so their doctrine don't match what actually happened in history. And they're hypocrites about it, that part too. Because
I think the biggest problem, like I say, I think the biggest problem that I've had with them is, you know, how they always talking about righteousness. They really are. They promote righteousness, right? But it's only for the women and the children. I don't see where, you have Jeremiah, in the book of Jeremiah, I think it is, where, we are admonished to build houses and grow food and do things like that. Basically build communities where people of like mind are living together and doing these things, right? Only a few, I'm not saying none, because I know some who have done it, but only a few have even tried. It's always some excuse. They just, to me, they're not serious about the big picture. They're serious about the small picture. Oh, I should be able to have another wife if I want one. I'm the man. God gave dominion over the man and blah, blah, this. Well, yeah, nobody's going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe but a fool. I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like I married one. I played the fool with a fool, but that's all good. One monkey don't stop no show. When you have these kids, you got to be serious about them. And I was serious about all of my children graduated from high school, and every last one of them graduated with honors.
Outstanding.
And the ones that have gone to college are on the honor roll, and one of us about to graduate now with honors again. So at the end of the day, we're having this conversation. I really appreciate it. Stay in touch with me. I got a sister and a brother who live down in San Antonio. I love San Antonio.
Yeah, let me know when you're here.
I promise you I will. I promise you that.
Yeah.
Y'all take care. Thank you for taking my call.
Yeah, you gotta
Yes, sir. I'm going to keep listening.
I appreciate you. And thank you for the super chats too. I appreciate that.
Hey, good. You have disseminated some powerful information. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you, Cheryl.
Yes, sir. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah, see, all these religions like to control women. They want to control women. And that's all they want to do. That's all they want to do is control women. Dark Light, you get to come up. The TikTok person, they fell off. They couldn't wait any longer. So you're not behind another person now. Now you're on. Dark Light.
How you doing, Renz?
Pretty good.
Yeah. There were some guys in the chat that wanted me to come on, and I just got a new phone. How's my audio?
Sounds good.
Sweet. So yeah, I was just now. What was the topic that you have up for today?
Hold on, let me put it up there for you.
God and Jesus, what?
Are not special or good.
Absolutely, I agree with that 100%. I say followers of Abraham are a blood cult of sin worshippers. I am a non-Abrahamic true monotheist. We've talked about this before. I'm just kind of reiterating for some of the chat.
Okay, explain that.
I don't come to my perception of God through the scriptures and dogmas of Abraham. I believe that we all have a connection. It's our divine sovereignty, which is the inseparable connection of the creator to the creation. But I don't believe, I'll say words like creator and creation, but I don't believe in the typical Abrahamic creation. Because I think just like the law of conservation of energy and mass, nothing can be created or destroyed, only transformed. So I don't think there was like a one single point in history where everything was created. I think it's a continual cycle of creation and destruction and transformation.
All right, so that sounds like the scientific explanation of the universe.
Yeah. Well, I agree with atheists on a lot of things, but I'm not atheist. I hang out with atheists a lot, but of course, when it comes down to it, I do believe in imaginary friends.
Okay. So from your perspective, you agree that the endless cycle of the universe, creation and destruction, from a scientific point of view, but you think that there is a created being who is doing that.
Well, see, I have a totally different perception about what the one true creator is, because followers of Abraham, they like to say that the one true creator is something separate from the creation. And I say that's bullshit. The one true creator is integrated into every quanta of creation. People ask me, how do I know that God exists? And I say, I know that I exist and I know I'm a creator. Therefore, there is a primordial creator. But once again, I say that God is living through our lives. I say that we are all God. All consciousness is an extension of the omni-consciousness, is what I like to call it.
Okay. So if all consciousness is an extension of the created consciousness, then wouldn't we all know? How could we not ever not know that we are part of the consciousness?
Well, when you say, do we know, because that comes with the perception of knowing of something outside of yourself. And from my perception, all you have to do to know the creator is to know yourself.
Okay, but that's okay. I understand what you're saying in that one philosophically, but what I'm asking is, okay, so the creator can never not know itself, right?
Yeah.
And if we are extensions, part of, integrated with that creator, wouldn't we also never not know ourselves?
Well,
how do we forget?
I think we all do know ourselves. That's the only thing that we can possibly know is ourself, and through that knowing of self, is a knowing of the creator. That there's so many perceptions juxtaposed onto what the creator is by followers of Abraham that when I use these familiar terms, people automatically associate the Abrahamic perceptions of those terms.
I'm not associating with Abrahamic. Well, I'm thinking more along the lines of the Hermetic thought process.
Okay.
But kind of the Hermetics, but not the Hermetics. So let me rephrase it then. Then it will be actually more of a Gnostic kind of point of view. That if all things are of the creator,
yep,
the creator has to always know itself, right? And so if the creator always knows itself, if this torch is imbued with the creative energy of the creator, the mind of the creator, wouldn't this torch know itself to be the creator? Or is the torch separate from the creator as just something the creator created, but not from of itself?
Well, I would say anything with consciousness. Anything with consciousness, that consciousness itself is a direct link to the omni-consciousness. I use 4 different traits. They're scientifically provable traits to describe my perception of the one true creator. It is unity, consciousness, dark, and light. But the dark and light are not antagonistic. They aren't opposed to each other. They are complementary. They are symbiotic to each other.
Okay, I can understand that from a Hermetic point of view. So then the beings, everything in creation is everything, even conscious things of creation are still not part of the creation, but just have a link to the creation.
Yeah, it has a link to the creation through our divine sovereignty, which is the inseparable connection of the creator to the creation.
Okay, right, but we are not the creator.
Well, see, there are meta levels to everything, and so we are a level of the creator. I call it a fractal singularity omnimatrix, and we are all a single quanta of the creator. But one is all. So all you need is that slight quanta to be the all.
But if we have any aspects of the all, even a partial or fractal part of it, we would still know, even that fractal part would know that it is the all. It can never not know it, right?
It kind of depends on what your perception of that is, but I think everyone does have that knowing of self, and that knowing of self is itself the connection to the knowing of the all.
So my perception of that is this: if there is a creator, then the creator can never not be any more than itself, nor can it ever be any less of itself. If it applies any of itself to any other aspects, then it would always know. Then even the aspects would know without having to go through any trials or stages. It would know that it is the creator. The fact that we don't know that, then to me says that we are not fractals of the creator, because we do not have the knowing of being the creator.
Well, like I said, I believe there's beta levels to everything, just like with the periodic table. The only difference between each atom is just a couple more subatomic particles. That's the only difference between all of matter. So like I have different perceptions about what God is. Like I don't believe God is all powerful, all loving. I do believe God is omnipresent everywhere and all knowing. But see, the one thing that, in my perception, God can't do is make an imperfect creation. So I say all of creation is itself perfect.
Don't look pretty perfect. Okay. I mean,
Well, I am bending the conventional means of that term perfection a little bit, but words are malleable. Words are only given powers by the consciousness using them.
yeah, words. I mean, I heard this quote the other day where this dude said that words are our bitch. Right?
Yeah. Words are just mouth queefs that we agree on what the meaning is.
Exactly. So, I mean, we can make a word be whatever we want a word to be.
Yes.
As long as we all agree upon what that definition is, then that's what
Yes.
the word is. So, I'm with you on that one. But, and I guess just for me is like, there's no evidence of a creator.
Well, I have a totally different perception of what that even is to be the creator than what people are usually used to. You know, like once again, I'm using that term kind of colloquially, but like I don't believe in you know the creation as prescribed by followers of Abraham. You know, I lean more towards the scientific explanation of creation itself. Someone in the chat was asking me, because I was posting some of my delirium, and they were like, okay, well, what is the true name then of the one true creator? And I told them that there is no name, that it is impossible to name a name separate from all of creation that then describes all of creation. The second you produce a name and say this name lords over all of creation, you have just named something that can't possibly be the one true creator, because all words and names ever spoken are the words and names of the one true creator. So we are all essentially the one true creator. We are all a fractal of the one true creator. And people say, you're a creator, so you created your body. I said, no, I didn't create my body, but I do create my world. I create my world through my thoughts and actions that I think and make every single day. And people don't even realize the creative power that we have in us. The world you have is exactly the world you created for yourself. And a lot of people don't even realize that.
I understand what you're saying. I just wouldn't use the word created there.
There's better words.
It's really just a factor of cause and effect.
Yeah.
You can be the causation of whatever. You are the causation of the life that you're living, and other people are the causation of the life that you're living, because their causation may be more powerful than your causations.
Yes.
Which you are living the effects of that. The only time that we are truly creative is in our mind.
Yes.
Like no one can, well, for the most part, no one can control whatever you create in your mind. Like I can create a whole universe in my mind right now.
It can be influenced, but not controlled. Yes.
And that, right. And it can be influenced, true. Based on everything that I've seen, learned, studied, science, sci-fi, whatever it is. But those things only exist in my mind. And I can will them to do whatever I want them to do.
Yes.
There truly isn't any free will that they have in my mind, because I am still determining what they're going to do. The only time that some people have where it seems like there's free will in their mind is when they're dreaming. But of course, I control my dreams, so no being inside my dream have free will. So in that instance, that's the only time I'm a creator. Everything else is just cause and effect. It's responses and reactions to whatever else is going on in the world today. Right? and I'm being held accountable for, time, space, and matter as far as what I'm able to respond or react to anything that happens around me in my little small visual universe that I exist in. But to me, none of that shows that that I am living in the mind of some creator, or that there is some creator that has established this matter form universe, right? Because it would have to be outside of all that in order for it to produce it. But then there can't be any, but scientifically, there is nothing out, there is no such thing as nothingness.
We'll see. I'm with you right there, and I don't, that's like kind of an Abrahamic perception where they say that the creator has to be outside of the creation, and see, I always say that the theology of Abraham is broken, and what makes it broken at its core is that it incessantly attempts to interject division into that which is united, which is colloquially called the creation. That they constantly seek to put divisions in there through sin, through evil, through Satan. Through all these bullshit constructs that they use to muddy the waters.
No, I agree with you on that one, and that is what the Abrahamic religion does. That's what every religion does, is to create their own construct of how nature is functioning, and to determine it, and then utilizing that to control people and how they function in their day-to-day lives. I agree with you to a certain extent.
How often do you hear a theist agree that they believe in imaginary friends? It is very rare to hear a theist admit that.
Yeah, they don't generally call them imaginary. They say that those friends are real, that they exist.
Well, if I didn't have imaginary friends, I wouldn't have friends at all. So I got to roll with what I got, homie.
I'm with you. I mean, hey, I understand. Sometimes you just gotta keep it to yourself, but stay within yourself, I should say. Yeah, I mean, they are imaginary friends, and if you accept that they are imaginary friends, then you know that they're just things that you have accepted or decided to accept. But there is no evidence of them being actually real, and which is why you call them imaginary.
Well, I do have a caveat to that, but I would say that every person that you meet in real life, you would say, okay, I got a real friend. That's this person, right? But actually, what you really have is an imaginary friend of them in your mind anyway, because you're not really talking about who they truly are. You are talking about your perception of what they think they are. So you have an imaginary link to everything that you experience in this life anyway. I see
what you did right there. I see what you did. That I can see that. Yeah. Like, I would tell you that Brandon is one of my best male friends, but I don't know every nuance of Brandon. I only know what he's presented to me. I only know what his responses and reactions have been, and how he has treated me and those around me that makes him my friend. So I have a shadow of who I don't know him deeply. Like, I don't know his deepest thoughts. I don't want to know his deepest thoughts, because just like my deepest thoughts, people ain't gonna like it. But so I get how you're saying that, and that makes sense from a philosophical point of view. I get that. That makes sense.
And you had some great calls today. You had a caller earlier that was trying to stand on what do they call it? What was it? The fine tuning argument. They were trying to stand on the fine tuning argument.
Yeah.
Now that's not an argument that I like in particular, but it just blows my mind every time I hear a follower of Abraham bring that argument up and they can't even defend it worth a fuck. I have a good defense for that argument, even though that's not an argument that I like. That's not a hill I die on, but I myself have a better argument. Listen up, fucking theist. I got a good fucking argument for that one, all right?
Yeah, let's hear
it. Okay, so the atom is 99.9% empty, right?
Yeah,
is what they say. Roughly, it's what they say. But okay, so the universe is about 99.9% void of life. You only have about that 0.1% of life running around in the universe, right? And they will sit there and say fine tuning, but and then you're like, well, the universe is a big old fuck fest of death. What are you talking about? It's fine tuned for life, essentially. and but all you need is that 0.1% of something within an atom to distill all of creation. All you need is that 0.1% of life within infinite darkness and death to therefore produce life. So I think that I have a better defense of that, even though that's not really one of my favorite arguments. Like I don't even. My favorite argument to prove that there is a creator is to say that I am a creator, therefore there is a creator. That's my personal favorite argument.
Okay, yeah, because the whole fine tuning thing is actually like standing on sand. Because
yeah, but I just find it funny that they keep wanting to bring this up, but then they can't defend it worth a fuck. And the one I just presented was at least a half-ass decent fucking defense of the argument.
They've heard some apologists utilize it, and they don't truly understand it, and they're just recounting what that person said, but they don't truly understand it, so they can't actually defend it. When you say that the creator exists because I exist, that also is one of those points that people stand on and down the hill and say that, well, all of creation demonstrates that there is a creator. But all of creation, all of life actually just demonstrates that the 0.1% is possible.
Yeah.
That with amongst all the chaos, amongst all the death of absence of life, because it's possible for us to be here, then it's possible for all the properties that came together in order for us to be here, that is just possible. And when you look at the scope of the known universe, it means that it is possible millions of times over.
Yeah.
So,
the argument you presented was because you said, which is a common thing, followers of Abraham will usually say, look at the world around you. And then they will use, look at the tree, look at the building. That's not the direction I go. You don't got to leave yourself. Just look at yourself,
right.
But that's still keeping it internal and within you, not outside of you, which is the direction a lot of theists like to go in.
But even within you, the possibility of your existence is like 400 million to 1.
Yeah.
Right. But because you do it, that means that to 1 is possible. And so that because you beat the odds.
So you're saying it's possible.
It is possible for you to exist, but that doesn't mean a creator did it. It means that your parents had sex at the right time and place with the right chemistry within them to produce you.
Yeah.
If they had sex 1 minute later, you probably wouldn't exist. Someone else would have taken your place. And so all of that just demonstrates how cause and effect work together to create the smallest possibility being in existence. So our Earth and sun and other planets and all the debris and shit billions of years ago is that 1 in 400 million that allowed for the Earth to be created, and then for the elements to mix the way they mix, allowed for life to be on this planet in that 1 in 400 million or whatever the number is, for that to be possible. Now, because it happened, that just means that because you have odds, that means that there is a possibility of those odds.
Yes.
It still doesn't mean a creator. It just means that the odds will one day give favor to the one.
Yeah. And now, I wasn't expecting to change your mind with that one. I'm just presenting, my arguments.
Right. No.
Yeah.
I understand. I get your argument.
And I got some more delirium to sprinkle on it. So now this is just a theory, okay? It's kind of like a early revelation to a lot of people, spiritual and otherwise, that everything is connected within life, within creation. But there has to be a physical mechanism for that creation. Now, this is just a theory of mine, okay? Now, for life itself, the physical mechanism that connects all life, it is mycelium, okay? Everything living has mycelium in them somewhere. And this is just a theory that the mycelium in that living thing is the actual anchor to the soul that connects it to everything else that's living. That's just a theory. I'm not expecting you to accept it, but that's one of my personal theories. Now, another theory is that, okay, what else connects everything? There is another physical thing that connects all things, and that is darkness. Darkness connects all light. Well, that's what I mean. Light and dark are symbiotic. They need each other's contrast in order for each other to be visible or seen whatsoever. So darkness is the physical thing that connects all things. That 99% of an atom, that 99.9% of an atom, that's all emptiness and darkness. And people are running around, why do I feel empty? Because motherfucker, you're made up of 99% emptiness. Quit fighting it, just accept it and move on with your damn life.
I was laughing earlier because it reminded me of one of my favorite movies, Vampire in Brooklyn.
Oh, okay.
When he was saying that if every day was a sunny day, then how would you know what a sunny day is?
Exactly. 100% light is just as blinding as 100% darkness.
Right. So I understand what you're saying. And like you said, it's just a theory. It's not something that you are promoting.
That's not dogma. That's just some of my delirium.
But I mean, because here's the thing: everything in the universe, in our known universe, has to have similarities. Has to have a connected similarity in order for its existence to be. Because all things are comprised of the elements of the universe. Just like on this planet, everything on this planet shares a certain amount of DNA, atomic structure, genome, whatever.
Self-similarity.
Right. And that's because it all happened here on this planet. Everything happened within this universe. So everything has some level of shared properties. So I can understand what you're saying. The mycelium, it reminds me of Star Trek, but the mycelium is valid. You know, even though it was used in a sci-fi, they often use real shit in order to.
It's worth exploring. It's worth exploring for sure.
But that just shows that, to me, that just says that when we're looking at the cyclic nature of our known universe, if everything comes together, then everything goes out. Then everything going out still has at least some connection to the elements of everything that came in. And then even when it's in, there is still space and matter around it. And so it will still have those elements as well. And just that continuous cycle of multiple expansions and contractions. So it's going to have similarities no matter what. It can't, because it's all of a similar substances.
Because the conditions necessary to provide its existence are going to be similar across existence. So necessarily, you will need that self-similarity in every expression of creation, pretty much, is what you're saying?
Right. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But I'm getting close to the time where I get off there, and I got one more person.
I got you, homie. I just wanted to jump on and see if my mic worked. I got a new phone and shit. All right.
Yeah, it works great.
You the man, Renz. I roll with you, man. All right.
Appreciate you, Dark Light.
Hey, and that one dude that wanted to be your co-host, I think he'd make a great co-host. He did really good.
Yeah, he did great. And he seemed like he's memorized the Bible. So
no, he knew his shit. Yeah, he was on point, man. And I haven't set a date for my next podcast yet, but when I do, I'll hit you up and see if you're available. I definitely like to have you on my podcast at some point.
All right, let me know.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you, man. You have a great night.
You too. Let's see here. Let's get. I hope she's still there. Yep, she's still here.
Oh, really?
Miss Fifi. I'm sorry. I would have brought you on.
Wait a minute. Am I the unofficial co-host?
Yes, ma'am. Let me apologize. I'm so used. No. I gotta apologize for something. I'm so used to you accidentally hitting the button that I was like, "Oh, she didn't hit that on purpose," and I should have asked because you would have came on a lot sooner. So my apology.
That's okay. Wow. Well.
So,
it's been a day, and it's been a day for you. I was like, oh my God,
indeed.
oh my God,
It's
he
been a
needs
good-
another cash app. Oh my goodness. The things that people say and the things that people believe in, believe.
I do have a cash app,
True.
but thank you.
It's staggering.
It is, but I find that to be one of the wonderful things about our existence is that
Mhm.
we can, the wonderful part is that we can believe whatever we desire to believe. We have that freedom and we have that ability. Where it falls short is when people want to force that on other people.
Right.
And oftentimes it results in violence.
But there was an underlying thing going on in the beginning of your life. Identifying identity, religion. Like this guy you were talking about, a time and period. And he said, well, Nimrod was black. And I was like, what? Wait a minute.
I know.
So, and then, we trying to hook up with Abraham, the Hebrew language and all that kind of stuff. It seems like people are trying to find an identity, something that they can be a part of and believe.
Yes. That is the full concept of the Hebrew Israelite movement, is taking people who are feeling disenfranchised and making them feel connected through this Hebrew story. And one of the things they do is make everybody black in the story.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt that majority of the people in the story had pigmentation, but what we would call black today is not what they would have called it.
Right.
They would not have identified themselves by race. It would have been a more identification by tribe, family, city, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One of the things also, I can't remember who the person was, but they touched on the metaphysical, meta spiritual parts of the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote a lot of notes. I just wish I had broken down and said I wish more people had critical thinking skills.
Oh.
I know it's uncomfortable realizing Santa won't be giving me anything, maybe because I've been bad. That's a note I wrote.
But people like the metaphysical is growing in popularity because it separates people from the history of religion but allows them to still believe in a God that this God must be good and that this God must have some kind of plan for all our suffering that we go through on this planet, because they still need that connection of some God must exist. It's just not the God that they've talked about. And so the metaphysical will fit that narrative for them.
Mm-hmm. As long as they can attach themselves to a book.
Yeah, I mean, most of them do have to attach themselves to somebody's book, and they will then cherry pick the shit out that book in order for it to fit their metaphysical thought process. In the last gentleman's version, it was also cherry picking some of the book in order to create a concept of God that's separate from the book, but then incorporate science to a certain extent as well, which then creates a separate type of God of the gap situation.
Now, you mentioned some stuff in the Bible. I think I've heard about it, but I never really read it, about Jesus as a child, knocking somebody off the roof and then resuscitating them. And then he did something to some birds. And I mean, God doesn't have to show off power. God is power, if that's what you believe in.
Right.
You know.
That's from the so one of the non-canonical books is the Infancy Gospel of Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't make the canon, and I would imagine because it demonstrates this Jesus character being a bad kid with God powers. You know,
Mm-hmm.
because he pushes this kid off a roof, and then they say that he pushed the kid off, and he's like, "No, I didn't." He's lying, and then he resuscitates the kid and say, "See, here he is. He's alive." That's basically how the story goes. So,
Wow.
But people didn't like that. That wasn't a good image for this child of God. But it followed kind of the Greek formats of how stories were written, you know, in 1st and 2nd century with Greek heroes. That as children they may have abused their power until they came of age, and then they had control over their power, and then went out and did whatever they were fated to do. So it really reads like a Greek tragedy, or a Greek hero's journey, I should say. So it wasn't accepted because the Jesus character needed to look pristine during his entire life. So they just say that they got the Luke part about him being 12, and then there's nothing else about this God in the rest of the book, in his upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like how they write Joseph out of the story. Joseph's in the story, then Joseph's gone. You don't hear nothing else about Joseph no more.
Oh my goodness. And the contradictions, Esau versus Jacob. Someone said, now why does he hate someone who stayed home and took care of the parents while Jacob gone somewhere and nobody heard from him or anything?
Right. He out there lying and tricking people and doing some kind of sexual magic with the goats. And then come home to his brother who has forgiven him and lies to him. So it's like the way that you show your loyalty to this God is to be a liar and a cheat.
Right. I mean, haven't they seen that?
No, because this God has to be, everything this God does has to be in the mind of God, and your simple human mind just can't understand it.
I mean, the first thing they did when they got out of Egypt was to go and destroy another country.
Yeah,
Jericho.
Exactly. Well, even before they got to Jericho, when they was wandering around, because remember, first they went all the way to the promised land. Then they was like, oh no, we scared. And so then he made them wander around. But even in their wandering, they were destroying other people, other civilizations, until they finally genocided Jericho. So they are of a destructive nature. The Bible shows them to be a very destructive group of people. And this God is perfectly fine with it. You know, applauds them for it even. And then killing some of their own people. You know, and it's funny. The men can go and have sex and marry another woman as long as she becomes part of their tribe. But if the man goes and has sex with another woman and he starts worshiping her gods, then this guy want to kill him. So it's like, as long as you're worshiping me, you can go and do these horrific things. But if you're not worshiping me, then the same thing that you did before, I'm going to punish you for it. So it's all about worshiping this God and not what you do in your worship of this God.
Wow. So, and another thing, what's the name of it? Moloch?
Yeah, Moloch.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
You know, I used to, my favorite show, and I still feel like it's just a personal thing. I feel like I came from Viking blood. I think somebody in my family was a Viking because, yeah, I love the Vikings. They were strong, they were exploring, but what was I going to say? In the Viking story, they go up to worship their god. What is his name? Whatever his name is.
Odin.
Odin. Okay, so they go and worship Odin up in the mountains, and you see a pen of different animals. And then, of course, there's an empty pen. So the empty pen is for the different tribes of the Viking people who went up to the mountain to put someone up there to sacrifice. So they had to sacrifice like maybe 7 people. And that disturbed me because I know that went on, and probably at a, I don't know why they believe that taking someone's life is the way for spiritual abundance. I mean, come on now. Oh, that would have been.
The sad part about that is that has been the motif for most civilizations that have ever existed. It is only in more recent times that we stop killing things in order to have redemption from some god. But most cultures, up until probably 18th or 19th century, still believed in some form of blood sacrifice. You know, whether it's a person or an animal. But it is because of our morality, not this guy's morality, that animal sacrifices have whittled down to only a few religions that are still practiced today.
Wow.
And
no one was safe.
Yeah. And shit, the oppression of women has only been something that's been starting to be released from most cultures. Hell, that didn't really start to like the 1950s.
Right.
Most cultures around the world still suppress women, and women are still being suppressed to this day, but it's at least better now than it was 100 years ago.
And the reason why women continue to be oppressed is because of the religions that they even participate in and fund. You know, if there were no women, there would be no churches and well, you're right, because we got the Hebrew brothers. They'll just take over, right?
No,
but they couldn't keep the lights on because they broke.
They still need the women. If
right, they need women, but women are participating in these religions. I mean, I just heard the lady who said that, you know, her husband wanted to do different things, and then it was all about, you know, what they could do with the children and what he could do with them. I mean, I'm glad she got out of there, but it takes women to be in these religions for these religions to make sense. That's what I'm saying.
No, and you're right, and that's also the sad part about it, because all of them dominate women. They all want to dominate the woman, and one of the main reasons they want to dominate women is actually economics. Men want to know that the child that they're taking care of and the child that they give their inheritance to is from their loins. The idea of giving your, you know, whatever you leave behind to some other man's child, taking care of some other man's child, is, back for most men, is alien, is abhorrent. It's like, we can't do that. So the only way a man can control that is to control the woman, because we don't know. Back in the day, we didn't know who baby that really was. You know, the only person who really knows that they baby is a woman. When the woman has the baby, that's her baby. We know that. But a man doesn't know. Until we had DNA testing, you didn't know. You know, back in the day, you remember, like my grandmother and them, back in her day, it was, you know, a child is born. If it didn't look like the daddy, then that's when the suspicion was there. It better look like.
If you don't have the family resemblance, like everybody have a big nose or some kind of ear deformity or
my son.
And we do it today. We look at these babies and say, okay, who you look like?
When my son was born, when our little big head son was born, I used to look at him like, I don't know. You look too much like, but you know, he looked exactly like his grandfather on his mom's side and her brother. So I was like, I know that my genes are strong. My two girls came out looking just like me. Why you don't? You my son. You supposed to look like me. And it causes that you have that time. I can imagine if it was back in the day, I'd have been like, that is not my child. I don't give, like, if there was no way of testing it, I probably would have had that mindset. This ain't mine. Matter of fact, I was working a lot during that time frame, so it's a great possibility that it's not mine. You know, would have been my thought process. And you know, I ain't gonna lie, I had him tested. Yeah, because of the situation of my life at the time, I had him tested.
That was the best decision you ever made.
Yeah.
Then you don't have to worry.
Exactly. And now when he got older, as he's gotten older, there are certain aspects of looking at him. I'm like, yeah, that's me right there. That whole across the eye and that nose part, that's all. You know, the rest of it is still his uncle and his granddaddy, but yeah, that's my son. But those things didn't start really occurring with him until he was about 16, 17 years old. So imagine going through that many years questioning.
Yeah.
So men create these rules for women in these religions so that they can control who she have sex with. You know, and
have sex with.
And the Hebrew Israelite thing is definitely still doing, still doing that.
Oh my goodness.
So it's like,
I never look at them again. All I'll see is them. All you do is march around with your purple shirt on.
Yeah. She said she wasn't part of the Power Ranger version, but
because they haven't tried to own anything.
No,
they never tried to, do something for the community. They don't have any schools. They don't have any, nothing.
No, and
except a religion to help broke brothers.
Exactly.
Like you said.
And it might be a group here or there that have a little something, but as a whole, as a mission, it's just not there. Like when you look at the Catholic Church, yeah, they had the power of the government, but they built schools and universities, and they are one of the largest land owning groups in the world. Granted, they had military and government support to do all of that, but in most countries today, you don't need military or government support to do those things. You just have to have a willingness to do it. Right, and that's all that's needed is a willingness to do it, a plan, and then execute the plan.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never see them the same.
Yeah, I can never.
But it's been a really good show. I've enjoyed most of it, I must say. Yeah. It opened my eyes to a lot of things. I like it when people come up and they have knowledge of what they're saying. I can listen to them, but when they start, just oh goodness, well, you know what I'm talking about. But
yes,
for the most part, I've enjoyed the show. Knowledgeable people, good understanding, deconstructing, like all of us. Well, maybe you're not. I'm still deconstructing.
I see it as a lifelong process.
Yes. I'm still compressing. And I'm also, because I believe in ancestors and that they are part of me. And I believe that I find them in the hymns that I sing because it reminds me of them singing in the church, singing those hymns that made them strong. And because I grew up happy and everything, it all seemed like a fairy tale, right?
Right.
Because everything was going well. We was all right with Jesus.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people was all right with Jesus until they start reading.
Yeah, until you start reading it. If you just listen to the pastor at the church and then your life is going pretty well, you're gonna think that yes, this is good to go. But if you start reading that book, all that stuff starts changing, you know. And the crazy part about it is that your life can still be good to go. You might lose some family and friends, but your life is still good to go.
Yeah, and that's a serious part because we all going to be getting together. You know, Christmas or the holidays is a big time for family getting together.
Oh yeah.
Of course, you know they're gonna have them dinners.
Yeah.
And have them uncles that pray and preach and give you the benediction before they even say the say the grace. We're gonna have that.
Oh yeah, and my family, I still get together with my family, and they will have their prayers and everything, but they don't do it with me.
They don't invite you in the room?
No, because I told them some years ago that if you want me to respect your beliefs, you're going to respect mine. You know, so in that respect, what you're not going to do is try to force me or my children or anybody else who don't believe in this religion to even stand there in your prayer moments. You know, so like when we are on our family vacation, before everybody leaves, they have a prayer. And all of us who are not participating in that prayer, we just leave. We say our goodbyes, hug everybody, and then we leave. And those who want to pray, they pray. Those who don't, they leave. So when we have our family meals and whatnot, those who want to pray, they pray. Those who don't. So I'll go ahead and get my plate and be sitting over there, you know, at the table eating while they're in there praying. You know, if I was already there, now if I get there late, they already done prayed. Hell, we just eating. So, and we do all the Christmas stuff, but it's fine. My kids know what it is, so I don't care what they do. And there are other family members who don't participate, so it is what it is. But because my family is more about the family than they are about the religion.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. Because
my case.
Yeah, and I'm lucky to have that. I honestly think that I'm lucky to have that because it was something that was established by my grandparents. Even though my grandmother was very much Christian, my grandparents established that family is more important than anything else. And I've gotten that across to my kids as well. That family is more important than our disagreements, as long as those disagreements don't harm anybody. We cannot disagree over things like pedophilia. There's no disagreement there, but we can disagree over if a God exists. You know, we can't disagree over theft. There is no stealing in my family. Even the few that have stolen from other people, they will never steal from family. So there's no disagreement when it comes to that. You will be ostracized from our family if you stole from other family members. Yeah, we'll cut your ass loose in a heartbeat on that one. But sell drugs, they'll still keep them fuckers in the family. Go to prison, still stay in the family. But if you harm a child or you steal, you got to go.
Oh, that's good.
Thankfully, we haven't had any murderers, so we don't have to deal with that one. We haven't dealt with that, but yeah. Get a divorce, you still family. We don't care. Shit. But everything else, they good to go. But I know that I'm lucky that I have a family that was developed that way. Everybody doesn't get that. I wish that they did. But this is why I always say that the family you choose is more important than the family you were born into. And go with the family that you choose, which these are people who have chosen and decided that they're going to be your family. That's why Brandon is my family. Troy is my family. Charmaine is my family, even though there's no blood relation. Those three people are family to me. Those are my brothers and my sisters, included with my biological brothers and sisters. Yeah. And they get the same amount of love and respect. Because I chose them and they chose me.
That's good.
And it took a while for my brother to choose me and for me to choose his ass. But he my brother now. I ain't like him when I was younger. But we good now. But I appreciate you coming on and being patient because I'm about to get off.
Well, like I said, it was a good live. I stayed from the beginning.
Yeah.
You don't have to give me any kudos.
I know I do. Just so
it's your show. It's your show. So
no.
I can just go to somebody else and come back when somebody, But I guess you got to listen to all of it because even though somebody might say something crazy, they might say something intelligent, or it might make you think about something that you hadn't thought about. I'm not saying that people come on here crazy. They just constructing.
Yeah. Actually, today got some good clips that I'm gonna clip from today and repost them.
Yeah, you got a lot of them.
Yeah. So it's been good, but I appreciate you, Miss Fifi.
All
right.
I appreciate you too,
right.
And what you do.
Talk to you tomorrow.
So thank you. Talk to you later.
Talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. I do want to say a reminder. I know a lot of you guys weren't on here earlier. Thursday, I have a doctor's appointment. I'm not sure what time I'm going to be able to come on, if I'm going to be able to come on at all, because I don't know how intense this is. My first visitation with this doctor, and it's a full physical. And I know I'm going to request certain things that they're not expecting me to request. So I don't know how long Thursday's medical appointment is going to go. As you guys know, if you're ever getting a physical, and y'all know I started doing this after my friend who had pancreatic cancer, after she passed away, I forced the doctors to do a chest x-ray when I do a physical. That's the only way you can have early detection of that. I don't know. I've never thought about pancreatic cancer until she had it. And now that she has, and she lived in my house for her last 3 months, I require a chest x-ray. So if you're going to have a physical, force them to do a chest x-ray in order to make sure, because you can fight a lot of shit. I ain't seen nobody win pancreatic cancer yet. So that's the only issue that I get checked every time I do a physical. And of course, there's a few other things that I'm gonna ask the doctor about, and I don't know if they're gonna be able to take care of that Thursday or not. So, but we will hopefully still have a show Thursday. It will probably start late. It definitely will start late because the appointment's at 11 o'clock Central Time Zone, so that's noon. So it's definitely gonna be late or later. So, but we'll definitely be here tomorrow. Definitely be here tomorrow for tomorrow's show. I look forward to that. You guys had a lot of other great comments throughout, and so I appreciate you guys having that conversation. These super chats that were given today, thank you guys very, very much. I greatly appreciate the super chats. Some other people had donated to the Cash App, which is $ my name, LARENZOREID, LARENZOREID with a $ before that. Over the weekend. Thank you guys for those donations to the channel as well. I greatly appreciate it. Especially we're getting ready to move to where we're moving to, I will actually have a room that won't have this echo. This house is built in such a way that every room in this house echoes. And there's not enough shit that you can put in a room or on a wall to stop the echo. So after the 20th of December, the echoing will diminish greatly. So, but yeah, today's been a great show. This has been one of the better shows that we've had. December 14th, this Sunday, I'm doing a webinar, and that webinar is called 9 Businesses You Should Start in 2026. I would entreat you to join me for that event. If you look in the description of this YouTube video or on my Facebook page, I posted the link to the Eventbrite on there. you want to be a part of it, if you want to change and add to your finances, it's going to be, we'll be talking about one of my favorite subjects, which is business. You know, I love that business. Love to do business. And one of the things I'm gonna talk about is one of the businesses that I've started here. I'm starting here in San Antonio because it's definitely one of those things that you guys should be doing yourself if you have the ability and the drive to do so. But anyway, beyond that, appreciate everybody for being here. Thanks for all the love, for the subscriptions, the subscribers, for sharing the channel, sharing the videos. You guys have been great. So always remember, you have to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations. And we are closing out on TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. But thank you guys. It's been great. And I'm hitting the button